question. What if you miss?
I won't.
It's that Eastern style story flavor, brother.
Slow delay, ladies and gentlemen. I wonder if actually, okay, no, it didn't. I was wanting to do and check on some things for my mic, because I changed some settings and stuff on my mic for a different setting, a scene collection that we have, and it sounded like it came across a little bit clean. Let me know if in chat if y'all can hear me just fine, and also Paul, let me get a little mic check from you, a little mic, mic.
Testing 1 2 3. Welcome to Living Split Screen, everybody. Good morning. How we all doing?
And just in that comparison right there, how are y'all feeling? What are y'all thinking? Is the audio level sounding good? I haven't had a chance to really make sure things were immaculate, but let me know. See y'all beautiful people already lined up in chat. Let's see. All good. Nixie says all good. Tim says good. Vandal says it is good. Hey, I'm putting my faith in y'all this week, man. If I come back and I listen back and it sounds ass, I'm gonna call y'all out, man. Shane G, by the way, I do want to send you some love because you did send us a chat last week that I don't know if we ended up getting to it. I felt like we didn't. I'll try to pull that up in our YouTube studio stuff to see if I can at least give you a shout out. You may not hear it now, maybe you'll listen back to it on the replay, but I just want to say I greatly appreciate it. Anytime anybody sends a message out, I don't ever want you to feel like we intentionally skipped it or missed it or anything like that. And he didn't send a message or anything like that, so that's why it's like I'm not sure, but I felt like we missed it, so I just want to make sure that we grab it. It was Shane G. He was like he wrote in something. He was the last person that wrote something in, but I could check it definitely.
I thought we grabbed that one.
Nam says there's a slight hiss to my mic. Is it a hiss?
Oh,
let me turn it down. Is it in the volume or what? Nam, let me know.
Castile is a snickety snake. That's what
Whoa, nah.
Yeah,
We're not doing all that. We're not doing all that. Negative. I gotta put my glasses on. I'm over here trying to squint and stuff. Like I don't need my glasses. Let's see. I'm just checking my limiters and stuff like that. Make sure everything is where it needs to be. Oh, let me turn this. I'm gonna turn that down. I'm gonna turn it down to about like a 6 right there. Hopefully that sounds a little bit better for y'all. Turn this back up to about a 2. When I speak, you hear it, and it might be the fan. Again, that's part of the reason why I adjusted some of my mic settings. I have this loud ass fan that's back here. Y'all can probably barely hear it, but hopefully. But it helps keep the room regular. Anyway. Well, beautiful people, welcome to Living Split Screen. There's been some interesting things that have happened this week, but if you're not familiar with Living Split Screen, we are a non-console centric platform that talks about everything going on within the gaming stratosphere. We like to take that RTS approach, that's that real-time strategy. We pull ourselves out of the world, look at the darker crevices of that map, pull our resources together so we can not only build up our own foundation right here on Living Split Screen, but also the foundation for those potential 2 to 3 billion gamers that are out there. See Nixie already coming out with the heat, saying he knew that the Xbox handheld was a farce. Nixie, you know a lot of things, but no, we'll see. It's gonna be an interesting topic. I do think just up front that Xboxes are just gonna allow third party to make that device for them while they throw the rest of their R&D into their next mainline console. I think that's what's going to, the full intention is going to be. I think that's the shift that they're seeing. Again, we'll see what ends up happening. We'll definitely get into some conversation about it. Cause hey, why not? I got some faith out there. I got some faith. But We are also the home of that ECP. Sorry, I was reading the chat. See, I in there just chopping. I love when y'all come in here on a week-to-week basis, man. Keeping things interesting. But we're also the home of that ECP. That's that educated consumer perspective, because me and Pong do not work in the gaming industry. We're two dudes with plenty of professional knowledge, real life stuff, work related, and also plenty of gaming knowledge behind this, man. Whether it be from back in the day to today, I believe, again, I'm right alongside with Pong on that this is truly the golden age of gaming. Can't think of a better time that I would like to be in as a gamer with more access than I've ever gotten before. But we won't get into a diatribe about that. I am one of your hosts, Steel Rain. That T is a 7 everywhere. Find me on X, otherwise known as Twitter, and that's pretty much the main place other than the Xbox ecosystem, just because it works so well in tandem between the console and the PC itself. But I have been playing some things, and I'll get into that. One main thing, because there hasn't been much else that I could really dive too deep into, because I was only thinking about one thing this week. But I did revisit Division 2, so that's going to be cool to talk about. But I got to introduce the uncanny gentleman himself, the X-Men that is not Cyclops, but he is with Jean Grey in the corner, as he always is on a week-to-week basis. Matter of fact, he got a behind-the-scenes injury because of Jean Grey. Don't let him tell you no different. He might tell you, he went to the gym, got a little workout in. Nah, it was because of some booty, man. Don't worry about it. Anyway, my guy, my confidant, the one, the only brother from another, my guy, Pong. So, what's going on, brother, man? How are you feeling? And what's going on, man?
Hey, it's great to be here on a Saturday morning. I am a little tender, as Steele was just mentioning. Unfortunately, I did make a rookie mistake at the gym yesterday, and it's going to cost me some time at the gym. I'm not happy about it. I've been really careful, and up to this point, especially at this age, it's very easy. But I did it. So it is what it is. And we're going to be focused on a whole lot of cardio, I think, for the next week or two at least. And it might be a bit before I get back to some big weight, but that's okay. It is what it is. Got to go through these ups and downs and these bumps. That's what it's about sometimes. But it's great to be here, Steele. And it's great to get to talk some games. Again, the only show right now going, although I think the Fun Speculation Network might be firing back up again here a little bit soon. So, but it's great to be back here to talk with you and catch up with you, brother, of course. And of course, our chat, our amazing chat, like you were saying. They always come in here on Saturday mornings ready to talk gaming. Unfortunately, very light for me, and you guys are going to hear this quite a bit coming through this end of the year here, but light for me on the gaming side of things. But again, I'm just grazing through all of this stuff. So still getting into Doom. Right? Still rock and roll on Doom. Still loving what I'm playing on Doom. Blades of Fire. Still freaking awesome. Now, they just had a big update yesterday. I have not played it since the big update. For me, this game on normal gets tough, but I'm cool with it. It's a fun, tough. I really am enjoying the hell out of this game, and I've seen a lot of people enjoying Blades of Fire. Again, it's not going to be for everybody. It's a double-A game. Lots of other stuff to play out there. I get it. But at some point, I think everybody should try to visit Blades of Fire if you have any interest in it whatsoever, because it is a cool-ass game. And crafting your weapons, naming your weapons, getting used to the different styles are really dope. Plus, opening up all the different, I'll call them attachments. They're not attachments because we're not using guns in this game, but you know what I'm saying. Opening up all the different parts and pieces to the different weapons, and then enhancing and creating a new weapon, kind of figure out how you want to make your weapon. If you want to, add more stamina to yourself, you want to add more damage to that weapon, etc. A lot of flexibility there. So I am enjoying the hell out of Blades of Fire as well. Still rock and rolling on Oblivion. So still doing my thing in Oblivion. What a freaking great game. I held off Steel. I almost bought Tainted Grail this week, Fall of Avalon. I almost bought it. So many people are playing that game right now, and I was so dang close to pulling the trigger. So close, bro. So close because I played the demo like I guys told you, and I did confirm the demo is still on Xbox. So if anybody wants to try it, the demo's out there. I think the demo might still be on Steam too. Now that's not going to be the full version or the 1.0 version that they currently released. It is a later build, but it's certainly not the current build. But it'll give you a good idea. It is such a dark Bethesda world watching people play that game. And I've watched a bunch of people for 15, 30 minutes at a time, kind of watching people go through it. Oh my God, I was so close. But I held off because I got Oblivion and I'm like, nah, I don't need it right now. I got too much other stuff coming out, including Stellar Blade. And Steele obviously made it quite clear. Steele is not the demo dude. He don't need to play demos. And especially with a game like Stellar Blade, he's all in already. He just wants to play the full game. I get that. I'm a demo dude, especially on a game like Stellar Blade. As much as I've been absolutely saying on day one on this, I still wanted to make sure that the difficulty level was going to be good for me and that I wasn't just throwing money out there to go take a bunch of photos of Eve for about, 2-3 hours. And then I wasn't going to touch the game again just because it was too hard. Right. So I was like, all right, we're going to definitely check out the demo. So shout out to Shift Up for putting the demo out. Now I can't wait to get it on. I didn't put it on the big screen last night. I just actually played it at my desk last night because I was trying not to move much with my injury yesterday. So I just played at my desk at the desktop here, and it does have widescreen support, and I have a widescreen monitor, which is beautiful. And I'm sold. Okay, I'm playing in story mode. Don't care. Again, don't necessarily like doing easy mode on games, but I don't care. I knew right away. It gave me the option. I was like, I'm not even going to mess around. I'm just going to put it in story mode and see how easy it is. Story mode is perfect for me. I'm still taking damage. I'm still having to heal. I don't feel like a goddess. I'm not walking through the game, just completely invincible. That's not the case. It still matters to parry because you build up one of your kind of like your secondary
moves.
Kind of special alternate moves. Yeah. So it still matters. So if you could pull off perfect parries, which I do like 1 out of every 3-4 times, that's cool. Like I still get the benefits of doing that. I also have the mode on that does when the enemies are going to do, not every time they attack. It's not every attack. It's only when they're going to do their big, powerful moves. It will slow down time and give you a quick QTE, a prompt that allows you a better chance at parrying or dodging. It's still very fast, but it does pop up on the screen and gives you that moment to do that. I love that they did that for those of us like me who aren't necessarily about the Souls-like games. So I'm loving the combat. The combat is beautiful. I'm just starting to get into combos. There's a whole skill tree, of course. There's multiple skill trees that you can upgrade. So just get into that. You can pick up different enhancements for your self too that add damage to like your combos and that kind of stuff. Okay. Combat is fluid. Combat feels really good. I'm all about it. Love it. Story. There was a lot of people who tried to say that, and forgive me, my allergies are bad again today, guys, because we got Canadian forest fires up on the border, which is all dropping down here. Our sun has been completely like hazy. You can look at the sun directly. That's how smoke filled the sky is right now. Yeah. So I got a runny nose because it's everywhere. But the story, like people were trying to say, oh, this game's nothing but a gooner game. People are only talking about it because of Eve and because, the body and all that kind of stuff. Listen, y'all, the story is your classic Eastern flavored story. This feels like near go down the list of any of the cool ass Eastern type games out there. Is it tropey? Absolutely, of course it is. And if you hate trope, then I can't speak for you. I don't give a shit about tropey. If it's done well, it's done well. Currently I'm playing in the English dub version. Okay. And the acting is great. I haven't tried the Japanese or the Korean or any of it yet. But right now the English version is great. The actors are awesome.
Does the mouth movement match?
Yes, the mouth movement does match. I haven't had any issues with that whatsoever.
Nothing glaring or nothing like that?
No, nothing glaring, at least to me at all.
What up, Lord?
Opening scene, got me. Like opening cinematic,
Okay.
coming. Bro, straight up anime style, straight up just Halo anime.
1 out of 10. 1 out of 10. What
Like-
would you give it? Just for an intro.
The opening intro, I give it a solid 8, 9. Yeah,
Okay.
again, but I'm easy to please. You
Yeah,
give
yeah, I
me
am too.
certain tropes out the gate. Like again, when you give me Halo, you're giving me the Robotech anime style, like you're putting that in and it looks gorgeous, and I'm in, man. I'm in. And then from the get-go, when the game starts and there's a lot of cinematics kind of in this, kind of giving you kind of some, a little bit of story and stuff.
Detail. Yeah.
But they're in the action right away. You're in the action.
Okay.
And Eve is in the action right away, right? And so I won't give it away. But the atmosphere of the world is on par. It just feels really, really well done. I understand why so many people obviously are praising this. Again, this is what I saw from watching people play it.
Yeah.
This is what I kind of expected, but it looks absolutely drop dead gorgeous on the PC still.
Yeah, they've up. Yeah.
Detail wise, I need it on my OLED though, of course, because again, I see. First of all, I don't like my monitor colors. I just don't like how it washes things out too much, and I'm not happy with that. So I got to see that up there. But the details, even in 1440 on a monitor, are incredible. I can't wait to see it on the OLED in all its glory. But they definitely did their thing here, and it's a cool ass game still. I'm loving it from the beginning. The way, again, there's a lot of different influence here from a lot of different games. You'll find it right away, but it works. And just the whole style of the game, from the UI and everything else, works extremely well too. This does not look like a first game from a newer studio and shipped up. Like this, that's not what this.
It's like a
looks
quality.
Like been around. It's like a studio that's been
for a
around
while.
for a long time. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's really well done so far. Again, hour into the demo or so, fought a bunch of different enemies already. I think I've already seen like 5, 6 different enemy types in the first hour already. Freaking dope, man. Brutal too. Cinematics wise, brutal story. Like there's violence, lots of it. So, loving every bit of it, man. I can't wait for a full release here coming out. And again, shout out to Shift Up for giving me that demo so I could try it and at least see if I was going to be in. And I am. For the story mode is perfect to me. So I am definitely day
That's
one
good.
on this. Yeah. So yeah, that's been basically my gameplay and Steel for the week. So again, nothing too exciting, but I did get the Stellar Blade demo a whirl last night. So
The Stellar Blade piece is definitely the exciting part, especially coming from you. Hearing that the story mode feels like it's in a good spot for you. Of course, I'm going to give you that alternate perspective when I end up playing it on hard for sure. So that's going to be interesting conversations to have in that. Just because of the variants and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's what's most exciting to me, again, is being able to see a title that you're interested in. And then again, this goes to something that we talk about all the time here. Knowing who you are as a gamer, so much so to the point to where you can see something, and then when you do end up being able to play it, say, damn, this feels pretty much how I was hoping it would, right? That's super exciting to hear. Can't wait to jump into that June 11th. By the time I get back to my off week, that'll be coming that week, so it's gonna be really dope. I cannot wait for that. There's also some other highly anticipated things. Arc Raiders apparently has something crazy happening behind the scenes. Maybe
you
an
can pre-download
announcement at
right
Summer
now
Game
through the
Fest.
app. You can pre-download on the Xbox through the app right now.
Some people are saying it's just going to be an open beta. But I don't know. You tell me. You ask me. I think the game's ready to go, and I think they got what they needed to confirm whether the game was ready to go. Because apparently, what we got in the closed beta was only a slice of the pie that they were planning to deliver, right? If there's 8 slices in a pie, that was 1 out of the other, and you got still 7 more slices to get through. So we'll see how that ends up going when we get into our Summer Game Fest talk. 'Cause, well, we can make some predictions, I guess, since that is happening next week before we go live again, hopefully. But the main thing that I've been into this week, as you can see on screen, is going to be Elden Ring Nightreign. This has been extremely interesting to me, seeing how people have engaged with this game, seeing how there's a lot of up and down with it. I unfortunately am uninformed on most of the negativity surrounding the game, and the podcasts that I've listened to, they're more on the casual side of the Souls games. Like, they like them, but maybe maybe it is for them, maybe it's not. Like, I'm listening to ACG, you know, they were just kind of just saying like, hey, you know, it's solid. But I didn't really hear too much negative talk. Now, I did see the reviews on Steam are mixed. I will upfront say that, hey, I can possibly see maybe there's a performance issue here. The number one thing that I have seen, just doing a quick search, is seen people say, hey, the game was too repetitive. Like, I made a post. I saw somebody, this was in a review, and I saw somebody separately say it on Twitter. Different time frames, but one said, I played 45 minutes and the game is repetitive. Okay, well, I want to tell you one thing. 45 minutes is one match. Literally. Unless y'all just straight up die at the very beginning as soon as you drop down. That's literally just one match. So you decided after one game, after one round of you playing this, said, that's enough. Okay, cool. There was another one that was in there for a little bit longer time, and it said something to the effect of, oh, I can't stand queuing with randoms and bad communication, which I can agree with, right? There is some multiplayer faceted things that should be in here, like in-game chat. Point blank, period. You can't have a game where you're allowed to play with randoms and you can't talk to each other. I get that, Souls games have traditionally, had this thing where you invite, but this is a specifically focused game type that you created out of your genre, right? So there's just certain things like, hey, maybe a more intuitive ping system, or maybe some chat dialogue I can say real quick instead of buying something from the store that says, hey, thank you, or hello, or, just something that's supremely obtuse. I thought I was tripping. I thought I was missing an option in the menu, but there's literally no option for voice chat in the game. It's like, okay. Now, it does add some charm to it because, I don't know, maybe I've been having a good experience with randoms. Now, not all of them have been good, but this is just something that I always do. I always end up playing with randoms, playing a difficult game, multiplayer or single player, and maybe I just get the luck of the draw every time, right? Now, has it taken some time to get through the game? I have over 10 hours in the game, right? I personally do not see how the game is repetitive yet. I can understand the perspective of why people are saying that, but I also, at least for me, understand the premise of a roguelike type game. And that is what they sold this game as. Hey, this is a co-op. You're meant to be team-based, fighting with people. Like, I saw people complaining, oh, it's hard in solo. They said solo is an option, but you're probably not going to have fun with it. Reason being as well is you probably don't want to do solo until you've played with people enough times, because regardless if you die, you still have a form of permanent progression, which is something you traditionally didn't have when you died in a Souls game. When a Souls game, you die, you better go get your shit or that's it. And here you die, if you permanently die, y'all all have to go load back in, go back to the main menu. And mind you, you don't permanently die unless you die at the main boss at the end of the night. Now, you do lose levels for dying out in the open world. But again, if you're playing as a team, there is no reason why you should be dying in the open world. Point blank, period. Because the other thing that I think that this game has done really well is I think some devs are figuring out ways to get people to play cooperatively. I noticed this in Arc Riders as well. You're getting people to play cooperatively in ways that we may have not thought was possible anymore because, oh, everybody's at a party, everybody's doing this. Like, there's just this language that gamers start understanding when they get familiar with the game, where they start being helpful. It's like the Battlefield mentality. Like, you don't have to be in a conversation. You don't have to be in a chat with Battlefield, but I know if you're running a medic, I know what to expect out of you. If you're an engineer, I know what to expect. You know, that kind of mentality. Where in here, if we're together, if I go down, I am looking for you to pick me up. If you do not pick me up and I lose a level and we got to go fight a boss, our whole team is going to feel that. You know what I mean? Me being weaker because I lost a level, because levels are important in here, is going to have an extreme effect on our performance as a team. I don't know how these devs are starting to figure this juice out. I didn't think that this is going to be something that was going to be able to be decoded, but at least for me, I have been playing with randoms the entire time, except a couple matches before I jumped on the show with my brother, and a couple matches with my brother on release date. But outside of those couple of matches, so I could say there's 4 matches that I play with my brother. That's one person. We still play with a random. Versus the probably 15 matches that I've done with complete strangers. No communication, no Discord, no nothing. And I've been able to beat where I'm down to, we just beat the, no, I don't think we did. I think we lost again. I'm at the second Night Lord. And there's like 10 or 15 or something like that Night Lords, bro. So it's like, it's taken me multiple sessions to get through there. I'm not getting a perfect team every time. I'm not seeing how it can be repetitive because run to run, you're not guaranteed the loot that you're going to get. You're just starting to figure out what class that you like. That's the other thing that's absurd to me. There's 6 other classes in here or something like that, or 6 or I forgot exactly how many. I know there's 6 classes for sure that you can choose from. There is no way you play one class and say you know exactly what you're doing now. There's just no way. Like this Katana dude that people were talking about, oh, this is a Sekiro guy, he's gonna be able to parry. You have to understand how his ability works to be even able to do that. And even doing that isn't worth doing all the time. It's like, sure, you can go parry and you can be the parry god all you want, but the damage that you're returning is not going to be that great unless you consistently are able to get that blade to light up. And there's certain incentives each class has that just fits so well within the game mode for a roguelike, for a Souls-like game. For me, I am finding a very difficult time to find something I don't like about this so far, other than the game chat options and the fact that there's not a duo option. But again, we see modders, and I'm always going to hold the publishers accountable for this. We see modders not even a week later drop a mod on Nexus for a duo mod for Elden Ring that is specifically designed for 2 people. It's tailored and everything. A modder did it. The person who's known for doing cooperative mods for all the Souls games was able to get it working quick, modified it and everything. Hey, FromSoft, this is a dude that you need to get in-house as soon as possible. This dude who keeps getting this multiplayer shit together for you, if you're going to go this direction, you need to get this dude in-house and make sure he gets paid very well, because he obviously understands your what it's going to take in order for you to have a successful multiplayer. And this is what you need. Speak to audiences. Your solo, duo, trio, maybe even add more down the road, add raid type battles. There's so many things that they could do with this. And this is them branching out. Nixie says, do I have to beat Elden Ring in order to play this DLC? Fortunately, Nixie, you don't have to beat Elden Ring to play this one. I get why people see it or saying that it's DLC, because I know that's the other thing that people were saying as a negative to it. Oh, it just feels like an Elden Ring mod. Oh, it's a rinse and repeat of what you had already. Ducato, Nightreign is standalone. You just get it's a completely different thing. I'll tell you this, it's Elden Ring, but it's not. It's not even remotely close. You can't play this the same way that you played Elden Ring. There is so much pressure on moment to moment You cannot be standing around. Oh, well, let me see what this weapon is. Oh, I need to. Oh, I'm gonna stand over here and look through my. You can't do none of that. We are wasting time. You have to start. You have to figure out stuff on the fly. And I think what they've created here has a potential to really expand it out. I don't see that as an art, like at least to me, I don't see that as an argument that can be made. Oh, this is just a mod. Oh, this is that. It's good. I think it's worth the $40 price tag that it's at. For even if you want to consider it an expansion, oh, it's not part of Elden Ring. It should have just been part of Elden Ring. Okay, even if it was, it would have been still worth the $40 expansion. But again, you can't even do that because the game plays quite differently than that original experience. So it's too different. It's like you're speaking to the same audience, but in different pools. You know what I mean? Not everybody who wants to play the open world Elden Ring thing is going to want to come in here to do the open world roguelite thing. You know what I mean? And you build up speed over time too. So it's not like, oh, it's going to take you forever to figure stuff out. Nah, you have options. Tim says, I needed farming in Elden Ring, not good enough anymore without it. Yeah, no, this game is definitely for those. This is 100% for the Souls player. 1000%. If you're not willing to get to these bosses, if you're not willing to understand how to use your class, if you're not willing to play the game, you're not going to have the greatest time. But I also think it's probably more accessible than some others just because of that cooperative element to it. But again, I don't have too much else unless chat. You have some things that you would like for me to speak to as far as Elden Ring Nightreign goes so far. As an experience, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm addicted to it right now. It's literally the only thing that I want to play. I was playing some off the grid as well, the Battle Royale, and they're doing some more updates, getting ready for it to come to Steam. So I've been having some fun with that. And what else has been on my list? I don't think I've really played anything else but those things, really. I feel like there's one other thing that might be in rotation, but I don't know. I can't think of what it is. Shout out to Ray Oy. He came through with the 20 bones. He says, good morning, LSS. Ray, you're a fucking phenomenal, man. Came through with the 20 bones. Oh, man.
Ray Oyd.
Shout out to Ray, man. Shane G, the chat that you sent last week that I wanted to make sure to get shout out this week is he sent $1.99 in bones and says, what do you think opens and closes the Xbox showcase?
Oh yeah,
I think we did
not see that one. No, we did not.
No, we didn't.
No, we did not. No.
Real quick, I mean, we can definitely answer that. I'm not planning to go to too deep of a diatribe about it because we're gonna have a show that's literally right before the showcase.
Yeah.
So, and hey, Fun Spec Fan might be back that week as well. We'll see.
Yep.
But what do you think is going to open? I heard Rand and Jazz talking about this a little bit last night as well when I was tuning in. What's going to open it? I want them to open with either something that is Halo related, mainly Halo related, because Halo Infinite has gone quiet as far as what's expected to be next. There has been a book that has been released that's supposed to tell the stories of what happened after Halo Infinite, but we need a game. Whatever Certain Infinity is doing, let that lead the show. Because if it's Halo related, you definitely need it. And I think that'd be a good way to really set people's expectation. The only other thing that I can see you do as well, if they're actually going to do a beta for it, is opening with Gears Reloaded and then going from Reloaded into E-Day and then maybe doing like a small section for the Coalition. Kind of like a little dev kind of walkthrough. Hey, this is the Coalition. This is what we've been working on. Here's E-Day. We're releasing a open beta after the show. Cool. And then after you make that announcement, you roll straight into E-Day and say, E-Day coming next year. You show us some actual gameplay, get the people excited, get the people hype. And maybe you don't show us yet. Maybe you show us the release date more towards the end of the year for Jeff Keighley at the end of the year. I think that'll be another good highlight for y'all since y'all have been seemingly consistent with good old Geoff, with giving him some good highlights to end the year with. So you could do it that way. But I do think putting E-Day front stage and center, putting Unreal in its best light possible, really and truly showing what is going to make Gears different this time around with gameplay, I think is the perfect way to open the show between Reloaded and E-Day. You spend about 5-10 minutes covering all that stuff. I think that's a good way to go about it. And then to close it, ooh, what do we close it with, man? I want to think it's going to be something else big. This Splinter Cell rumor spinning back up again about the remake. I really hope that the images that are out there of Sam Fisher's face, I hope that's not what that remake looks like.
Tom Henderson already said, obviously that's not.
Okay. I was really hoping to God that it wasn't, because Jesus Christ. Y'all don't want to see it. Y'all don't even need to see it.
Come on.
I don't even remember the game looking like that. So that's what threw me for a loop. I was like, Certain Affinity could be doing Halo Combat Evolved remaking UE5. I just don't think that that's what they were working on. I don't know. Maybe. While 343 works on whatever they're doing, maybe. To end the show, I would like to see Forza Horizon 6. A tease for it. Only reason is because you're going to Japan. And it's going to come out 2026.
We still don't know if that's real, though.
No, we don't know, but that's what I would want. That's what I'm saying. Whether it's real or not, I don't know, but that's just to make the next logical conclusion. If you want to elevate the showcase, right? Especially with all the hype and heat that you got, I think that'd be a good way to end it. That's my ender though, and I think that that's what's going to draw a lot of hype. And I think especially now with Forza Horizon 5 being on PlayStation, I think turning around and next year saying Horizon 6 is going to come out, although it may not be possible because of we've also heard it's all hands on deck for Fable currently. So, but I think you could at least do a tease, and if it doesn't come out in 26. I can see maybe a 27, taking your time with it. No need to rush Horizon right now. You know what I mean? Especially with the newfound base. Continue to do another expansion or something like that. But I think that'd be a good way. I think that'd be cool. I think it'd be a cool way to end it. And I saw somebody, Tim, I saw Random talking about that too. In Elder Scrolls 6 teaser. I don't know if they're ready for that yet. Damn. That might be end of the year. That might be like the teaser for it. I think that's something you would do at a Keighley show at the end of the year. Just to get people excited.
Because they're going to have a Starfield update. So it's going to be a massive party show now, folks. I'm not here to hurt anybody's feelings. It's just that everybody's got to get ready for this, right? I'm not looking at the show. This is no longer... It's kind of weird. I don't know. We'll talk about it because we got plenty of time to talk about it because we're going to talk about it next week. But it is kind of a weird feeling. Because honestly, I'm looking at this like I look at like any other third-party show, truly. And there's going to be a lot of PlayStation and Switch 2 announcements here. And I think just everybody's got to get ready for that. It's not going to be this Xbox-centric thing anymore. You're not going to hear exclusive anymore, and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of weird. But I could see that ending the show before they go into Outer Worlds 2 is Starfield with this massive update. And then PlayStation 5 launch. The beginning of the show is either Fable or Gears. I could see a surprise if something's like Everwild or Contraband is ready for the big time. I could see them starting to show off with one of those two games that have kind of been around.
Yes, next Summer Games Fest is next week.
Yes,
it's on the 6th.
Yes, it is. So it's kind of. I could see them starting off something like that, or if there's some kind of surprise game that we haven't heard about or has been in the works for a while, like let's say NX Clockwork Revolution. Let's say that's going to be a surprise early launch next year. I think they could show. I think they could show that there at the beginning of the show too. But my guess would be Fable or Gears to begin the show, and then I think Starfield ends it with a massive update, a reworking of the game. And an announcement for PlayStation 5. I think they're going to try to really kind of do the cyberpunk thing with Starfield, which again, to me, I like cyberpunk from the get-go. Love Starfield from the get-go. Doesn't matter to me, but for a lot of people, I think they're going to try to go that route and try to get people back in, especially with the PlayStation 5 launch. So that's what I'm thinking.
Nixie, the Xbox show is that Sunday.
Next
on the
Sunday.
8th.
Yeah, next Sunday.
Yeah. So we'll have a show unless real life happens or whatever the case. We'll have a show that Saturday. We'll talk about what we expect to be at the showcase for that. And then Sunday. You know what? Thank you for that too, Nick. So we were talking about summer game. No, that was Shane G's question. That was based off of Shane G's question. So that never mind, that works. Yeah. I was thinking about Summer Games Fest. I was like, the fuck? Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, other than Elden Ring, Nightreign, essentially having its hold on me right now. That's my go-to game. Off the Grid being my multiplayer game right now. I'm waiting for Stellar Blade. And I'm kind of complete for the moment, ladies and gentlemen. Like, the next thing on my list is Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, which is another one that I'm highly anticipating. But outside of that, like, all I need is Mecha Break, and I think all my dreams have come true. Like, I don't know if I can handle anything else on my plate at that point, right? Like, a couple multiplayer games, constant updates, the other titles that are releasing this year. My palate's too full, man. I don't know if I can handle anymore, bro. I don't know if I can. And there's some indie ones that come out there too that sometimes I get my eyes on and I want to touch on for a little bit and dive into. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. But yeah, that's essentially all I've been into this week other than that. And yeah, Nixie, he says Stellar Blade looks like it plays pretty well on the Steam Deck. I've seen some people playing it on Steam Deck and they said it runs real well. So hey, look what a little optimization does for you. A little optimization. People say that certain things can never be done, and then 6 months later they're possible. So, anyway,
Steel, did they say Space Marine the Mastercraft Edition was going to have a co-op in it, or no?
Not to my knowledge.
Did I dream that one? I probably dreamt that one. I was going to say
not that I saw at least.
We might have to jump into that. I know you just played it on PC prior to Space Marine 2 launching.
But if it had co-op, that's different.
Yeah. But yeah, the Mastercraft Edition, bro. Well, I'm definitely gonna be playing it. Obviously, no matter what, I'm gonna go back to it because I started playing it on the 360 again, and also on PC because I bought it through GOG.
It's definitely worth it. Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna go. I mean, it's day one in Game Pass, so who cares?
Yeah.
I'm gonna play that. But yeah, I was just trying to think if it had co-op or not because I was gonna say you and I are definitely gonna have to make some time to run through co-op on that shit. But we're definitely gonna with Space Marine 2 when they drop that Horde mode, we're definitely gonna have to hop in that and try that out too. So
I mean, yeah, just fucking the rest of the content. I actually,
and the rest of the content as well. Yeah.
Everything else, huh? Space Marine, Master Crafted.
For anybody who doesn't remember, just a reminder too, Metaphor ReFantazio dropped in Game Pass. So if you did not get a chance to play Metaphor, again, I know there's a billion things out there, but if you are a JRPG lover in any shape, form, or way, you need to try Metaphor. I bought it day one and I played it. I played the demo more than I played the regular game. I got to go back to it. But if you're a JRPG lover for any stretch of the imagination, you got to try Metaphor, especially in Game Pass. It's well worth it.
The Steam page for the Master Crafted edition for Space Marine says online co-op.
Ooh, really? Okay.
Cross-platform multiplayer, yeah.
Okay. Well, that'll probably have to be a day. That's June, right? That's coming?
Yeah,
that's coming. June 10th. Yeah. That's a day before Stellar Blade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, and I just snorted because there's so much shit out here. It's crazy, bro. Like,
what are you supposed to do with that information? Like,
we're just getting slammed. I mean,
games, I guess. That's why it's so hard for me to see how people just are living in the make-believe land online, and instead of playing games, they're playing Twitter or they're playing social media or they're not playing, not doing nothing in real life. They're like, come on, y'all. Like what is happening? I can't fathom like what I was mentioning about Nightreign. I just can't.
The Alters comes out on June 13th. Steel.
Oh yeah, the Alters.
Indie game
that
sci-fi. Yeah, that sci-fi one.
Too.
Bro,
you have the clones of yourself and everything, different personalities.
Yeah,
that game was actually really good from Cognito.
I thought it was the end of the month. Yeah, I haven't even gotten to play Dredge. I got Dredge downloaded. I started Dredge. I was gonna play Dredge is freaking just from the beginning. Yo, Yeah, this is the time, man. This is the
Yeah,
time.
nah. Anybody saying that there's nothing to play, you're smoking crack. I just I can't even tolerate it. I've seen people play games and just put them down. Again, I saw that with Nightreign this week. Again, I played this for an hour. It wasn't for me, bro. Like you didn't know it wasn't for you 6 months ago. Come on, like some people just try to like force themselves into things that maybe aren't for them. Again, you gotta know what you're into.
And if Arc Raiders just drop Steel, if they just open it up,
That's insane. I don't know what to. Yeah, I'm not gonna know what to do. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was mentioning. What am I supposed to do with Arc Raiders comes into rotation just out of
did you hear
nowhere?
the rumor that they recorded it on a VHS so nobody could see
I
it?
saw the image for that. Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know if that's like a
wonder if
promotional
that's
thing
true,
or propaganda,
yeah.
but I would
It's
not
good
doubt
looking
it. Like
VHS.
a team like that would do it. It looks dope because the Arc Raiders is kind of that 80s
Yeah,
type
it is.
of
Fits the aesthetic.
art. I love that. Right.
Futuristic.
I still want yeah, but old school. But the fact that even a possibility that they just recorded the whole thing on a VHS tape just so nobody could see it and nobody could steal it, like that's dope, bro. If they just throw this out there and open it up and just say, hey, we're just gonna rock with this and we're gonna grow it with you guys in the community. But we're just gonna launch it. I think that would be fantastic. I think they really got something going. So
Especially with everything that's happened with Marathon, I think people are like really looking for it. Again, there's nothing else that's like that on the market right now. The closest thing is Off the Grid, and it's apparently it's not even Off the Grid isn't getting the attention that Arc Raiders has gotten. It's speaking to a wider audience for that type of style of game that it is, being a little bit more hardcore, being that kind of Tarkov competitor, quote unquote. And even then, I mean, it being third person, and even that has its own things. I saw people having conversation about that. And I think I even mentioned it here, where people are like, "Oh, why does it have to be third person?" And oh, it's so hard to optimize for third person because people can see around corners and people corner camping and they're doing all this stuff. Why would you play third person? It's easy mode. And it's like, bro, how are you making all these complaints about something that is available to everybody that's playing the same game that you are? Like people are finding things to complain about, and then it was like, oh, well, we need first person Arc Raider, so it's going to fail. It's like, bro, like we can't just have options for like things can't just be different to be different, bro. Like it can't be just what it is. Vandal says Refudge bought Nightreign, but now wants to refund it because he doesn't have anyone to play with. What happened to the 70 million PlayStation players, bro? That's what I'm saying. Like some people, I guess, are just different, bro. Like
how did you not look it up and not know that it wasn't crossplay?
Yeah, I mean that was one of the first things that you could have seen. I mean, yeah, I could have told you. I mean, that's their history. Like they've traditionally haven't done crossplay with their games. I will say, Nightreign might be the first one that they definitely break that for because of the style of game that it is and opening it up to a wider audience as possible. But yeah, bro, like that was open information. Like
some people
if you
live down their tourist name ever.
If you were familiar with the gaming scene, like why are you not finding more stuff about games that you're interested in? That tells me that you weren't interested in it in the first place.
Professional, you're getting paid.
And people are literally paying you. Yeah, like people are like, they provide your salary, bro. I wish people were paying me and Pong at least $2,500 a month a piece.
It's
for us just to sit here and say and talk about the stuff that we play. I would have so much more time if I was making $2,500 a month just off of this. I would have so much more time. Like I mean like $5,000 altogether, 25 or 25 for me, for Pong, and for us individually. But bro, there'd be so much other things that I could do. I'd be like, you know what, Pong, we're gonna do some more co-op sessions, man.
You're gonna believe I'd be doing research. I mean, again, I already do.
At least, I mean, we do that anyway, and we're casually, we're getting casually. We got life going on. We're in the DM. We just send this stuff.
Yeah.
Like I just, it's weird. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird, bro. People are strange, man.
Fastback, who does want to wish the brother Pong a great birthday. Welcome to Old School Gaming Club and AARP.
I actually did. I'm not joking. I did get my AARP card application, so it did come in the mail. Yeah. They were ready for me, and honestly, I might do it just for the free gift because the free gift, dude, is like is like this is like one of those sectioned off bags that you can put in the back of
Really?
your car for like your groceries and shit.
That's that's fire. I like those things are
It's
dope.
perfect
Those
for
things
my
are dope.
it's perfect for my Civic for the hatch, right? Because I've already got the hatch. I got to go to have that thing back there when I put my groceries in. I'm like, you know what? I might just
That'd be
sign up
nice.
just because
That'd
of
be
that
nice.
shit, bro.
That's some
I'm
old
not
head
fun.
shit. That's
I know it is.
Dope.
I know.
That's dope.
Tim the Sorcerer
I would
earlier
like
came
that.
in. Tim the Sorcerer came in earlier, member for 22 months, and also
what's
said
that?
happy belated birthday to me as well. So I appreciate that.
Happy
Yeah, I appreciate everybody's birthday wishes this week. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I had like, I don't know, like 150 some birthday wishes this week. So it was nuts. It was actually time consuming to respond to everybody. I was like, oh my God. But no, I appreciate it all. And you guys know I embrace the fact that I'm old, so it really doesn't bother me at all. So it was cool, man. It was cool. It's kind of surreal. I called my dad too. Off the subject here of gaming, but I called my dad too, or he called me to wish me a happy birthday, obviously. And he's like, "How does it feel?" And I'm like, "Man, pretty strange, Dad." I said, "Kind of surreal." And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm not tall enough to have a 50-year-old kid." It's just weird to hear my dad say that because, like, obviously you remember your parents. I almost remember my grandparents when they were in their 50s, right? It's just weird getting to this point, but it's cool, and I appreciate everybody and the happy birthdays. It was a great week, so thank you all.
Yeah, that's fucking phenomenal. Much love to you, man.
Yeah.
Again, it was also good that you had a decent week this week too. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, except for injuring
Adds up.
myself.
Well,
Except for
I mean,
injuring myself. The one
thing at
thing.
a time. One thing at a time. Then we had Yobi come through who's a member for 19 months under the Horde of Boar. He said, "Peace, love, life." Again, happy B-Day Pong. Love you, dog.
I'll love Legend. You know that, brother. So one of the best in the community, man. Love you too, man. Thank you. Appreciate you.
And then
Appreciate
Eastside Vandal says, "You guys should start insulting us, and then we'll give you more money."
Oh God, yeah,
That's
let's do that.
definitely
Let's
a strategy.
Start banning people. Start banning people. Still,
Banned. You disagree? Banned.
you know what?
feel like-
You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna help you out, so you don't have to listen to us anymore. We're gonna help you out. We're gonna help you out right now. There you go. Banned. Ow, that hurts. Can't laugh.
Don't you ever come back.
Oh, I
smear
can't laugh.
merchant.
It hurts. Oh God, it's so awful. I can barely watch the clips, bro. I can't imagine watching a whole entire show.
Hey man, again, to each their own. He's got some traction out there, so no hate to him, man. You keep doing your thing. People paying you
he's
to
been
do
doing
it.
it for a long ass time, bro. He went through a whole controversy of being a sleaze bag and still has come out on the other side making money. So whatever, man. More power to him.
Rock out, man. Rock out.
Yeah.
Can't even be mad. Hey, well, ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to get into today. Randy, good old Randy, double quadruple down and says, "Hey, well, if you're a true fan and you just don't got the money right now, you can go get Tiny Tina right now. It's free on Epic Games."
To insult. Bro, I have covered for Randy for a long ass time. I've blown off his bullshit and his dumb shit for a long ass time. This run that he's on right now, fuck.
Oh, he's
Randy
on the phenomenal. He's shooting from the field.
I'm done. I'm done. Leave the industry, bro. That's why Microsoft didn't want to buy your company, because they didn't want you in charge. And it's obvious these are the reasons why, man. I just whatever. I'm done. I still love Borderlands. I'm not buying it for day one, but I still love Borderlands, but I'm not gonna sit here and defend Pitchford anymore. Screw that
man.
guy.
Hey man, if you're a real fan, you go get Tiny Tina on Epic Games right now. Even though we bought it already and played it.
I went and grabbed it. I did go grab it. So.
Oh, you did go grab it? Okay, yeah. I'm not even gonna grab it. I'm good.
I grab all the free shit, bro. I don't care.
Yeah, that's fair.
My library's crazy.
Additionally, yeah, we're definitely gonna shout out the chat. I was gonna just run down kind of different things that happened this week, and then we'll definitely shout out the chat and get these beautiful people rocking and rolling, see what they've been into this week. But I was off of Randy. We also had the Elden Ring, the Nightreign massive launch with mixed reception, so we'll throw that in there as well. I talked a little bit about that already. Black Myth Wukong running on Android devices. That's something that kind of came out of nowhere, but I think it's important kind of sleight of hand topic to get into, mainly because this kind of adds on to the perspective that I brought about handheld PCs getting under $1,000 and games like Resident Evil, for an example, being able to be played on iPhone, you're starting to see some other games, high quality AAA style games, being more readily available on phones. No, Black Myth isn't on an Android. Somebody got it working on the Android, right? Because of being Linux and everything. Again, you got some smart people out here, man. But it was running at 45 frames. Again, nothing extremely phenomenal, but again, tells you there's a lot of potential out there for the future. I think that's the main thing. Xbox Handheld has apparently been sidelined, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's going to be interesting to get into. We'll see. Let's see. Pong's already shaking his head. A lot of people had some strong opinions this week. And Jez did clarify that's just, again, it's another article that, it's based in some things, but it's just mainly his thoughts on what's happening. We also, next gen Xbox console development is continuing, though, off the heels of that. That was solidified. EA cancels Black Panther game and shuts down the studio. Cliffhanger Games, man. This is interesting. It's crazy to me that they shut this down, right? Maybe it's because Iron Man needed more of the development time. Is this going to be where Iron Man comes back for the MCU, but in game
Got the article.
form?
We know what it is. Still, it wasn't far enough along.
That's what I was.
And we've
got
the details too. We got the details too, which is sad.
I was going to play into it. Come to find out, 4 years, game wasn't far enough in development. They cut their losses.
But, bro, what's his face was from Monolith, and they were doing another version of the Nemesis
system.
For this game, they were doing another.
4 years in development and haven't even got anywhere.
Bro, we were going to get an upgraded version of the Nemesis system.
Yeah, we were.
For a character that I don't care about in the grand scheme of things in Black Panther. It would have been dope as hell, especially since you were going to be able to customize your Black Panther playstyle.
Yep.
That was the other thing that they talked about for a long time. You were going to be able to customize who your Black Panther was and how you played. And it was going to change the story as you played through it as well. The narrative was going to transform based upon.
You got to make the game. You got to make the game.
Yeah, you do have to make the game. Because this is what we're talking about.
4 years
is effed. It's beyond. And this
doesn't make any sense.
But still, what we've lost.
It's crazy.
Me,
I mean, hopefully it can be implemented. Whatever they have, they can be implemented into Iron Man. I mean, again, we haven't gotten a release date on that game.
I don't think Iron Man's coming. So
you don't think it's going to come? I mean, but Motive's been working on that for some time, though. Now, at this point.
Tom Henderson thinks it's going to be eventually.
You think it's going to be cut?
They were talking about. They were speculating on their show, on the Inside Gaming show. I was listening to a little bit this week, and they were speculating, and most of his panel just thinks it's done. That EA is moving away from licensed IP, and that it costs too much.
I think the thing about the Iron Man one, though, is that it may be too far along in progress. Because when was that announced? Hold on, let me find out real quick.
Think about it. Think about if they're going to launch Iron Man though, and they don't use the anthem flying. Think about if they're going to do that. You know how blasted that game's going to get.
There's no way.
There is. It's EA. It's going to be nuts.
Let's see. When did it get announced?
Oh, PC's listening to me again. Funny.
What?
So the PC's listening again. We were just talking about the Black Panther thing, and I mentioned it.
Right.
And then an old tweet from 15 hours ago from Culture Crave popped up with the breakdown of the new Nemesis system and shit.
Yeah, I mean, good point. He says, if they're shifting away from licensed IP, what are they shifting to?
Well, that's the question. But they've had massive losses, right? Because they got rid of the FIFA. Remember, they got rid of the FIFA license. How did that work out for them? Right?
Yeah.
That turned out to shit. So they reiterated that Battlefield, Apex Legends, and what else is going to be their focus? Madden. Those are their pillars. I know there's one more in there that I'm missing. I can't think of what the other one was. But those are their pillars right now.
It would be soccer, wouldn't it?
No, because it did so horrible. They lost fucking incredible ton of money.
I don't
That's
think they'd
part of the
give
reason
up
why
on
they
it, though.
that's why people think that Black Panther got canceled, is because soccer underperformed so bad this year without the FIFA license that cost, because they use that money. Again, they robbed Peter to pay Paul.
They do. Mhm.
So when those projections fell short, they needed to cut something, and they cut Black Panther. That's the speculation. Again, obviously EA doesn't talk like that when they talk to their shareholders. But anyways, that's the speculation, because without the FIFA license, they did that game way undersold compared to what it normally does.
Tim says Nemesis is property of Warner Bros. How would that end up in EA's Black Panther? You would create a version of it because he worked at that studio.
Yeah, the former head of Monolith. So he understood what the concept was. Yeah. Because they patent the Nemesis system that is specifically coded for Warner Brothers, right? So Warner Brothers has that right, but we talked about this in the past too, Steele, that this was possible. Why somebody hasn't tried to copy the Nemesis system in some way? Because the general idea, now Nintendo would disagree. Nintendo thinks you can copy, you can patent general ideas like fishing or catching monsters and balls. So again, this is why I hate the Nintendo lawsuit so much, and I think the industry should be in an uproar. But the general basic idea of the Nemesis system, you can't really patent that, because you could change enough of it where it's not a direct copy, right? But obviously, they were working on something that was similar, that was going to work similar to that. So, and
for Heroes, it would for that kind of environment, it would need to be somewhat different. So.
Yeah, it would be a little bit different.
But yeah, so for the Iron Man is from EA Motive, and they're the studio that made the Star Wars Squadron and the Dead Space remake, which they were denying Dead Space the second game for the Dead Space remake. So I mean, a part of them being denied for that could have been because of they need to focus on Iron Man.
And Dead Space.
I mean, that's for sure. I mean, that's a for sure thing. But
which is sad, because it's freaking beautiful. It's gorgeous. God, they did a great job.
But if you're already working on one, and you need to make sure that one gets out, like if these other ones aren't going to make it, something got to shake at some point, man. I'm hopeful, but I'm also the Iron Man fan, right?
Right.
Yobi sent me a Iron Man of myself. Here's Bob Iron Man here. I'm the Iron Man dude, so I'm always going to be hopeful for that. So we'll see what happens, man. Hopefully they don't give up on the complete. Hopefully they don't give up on it. Fastback says, was this the Black Panther game, the one with Captain America? No. This was a separate one. Yeah, that's 1943 Fastback. That's with Amy Hennig, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's the one that's looking phenomenal. Tom Anderson and his squad too were kind of speculating too that seeing 1943 and what they were doing with the Black Panther stuff could have potentially influenced EA to cancel this one as well.
Probably, because it probably wasn't at that same level.
Correct. That's what they kind of are speculating too, that they knew that 43
we had conversations
before this one, and it was going to set the bar for Black Panther, and that this might look, obviously it's going to be a totally different game and a totally different style. And I was more, obviously I'm interested in both, but obviously I would say that I would be interested in seeing what they were going to do with this one. Obviously I just said it. But I think that could have been potentially to the heads of EA something that was on their mind as well.
Yeah, they saw it.
Shit, how are we going to live up?
And it was impactful. It wasn't when that was shown. It was impactful. People were like, "Oh, okay," and especially nowadays. And I saw somebody bring it up. He was like, "What's the point of having two Black Panther games?" I mean, one could be more of an arcadey style, where the other one plays more into their realistic kind of style. If they were planning on doing it that way, but again. It depends on where you're at in development as well. If you see that, I don't know, if I was making a Black Panther game and I saw somebody come out with that and my game didn't look like that, I'd probably be I'd be second guessing a little bit. I'd be like, I don't know. They're doing something creative over there. They're really getting that spirit. So, Yobi says, I've dived head first back into Star Wars Old Republic, and gents, my God, I fell back in love once again. I just beat the Emperor and moved on to the next chapter. Hey,
look at you.
Yes, that's the MMO, ain't it?
Yeah.
Knights of the Old Republic. Yeah, the game's still getting support, bro. The last time I tried to play it was like on my old ass laptop. I haven't tried to play that game ever since.
Knights of the Old Republic is the RPG, right, by BioWare, and so Knights of the Republic 2. So no, it is. That's I was
okay,
saying that. Sorry, I was half listening. So the Old Republic is the MMO, but yeah, no, I actually fired up Knights of the Old Republic on my phone.
Really?
Yeah, I had some time. I was waiting on some shit at work, and I actually fired it up because I've had it because it was free on Epic from Epic, both of them. So I fired up. It plays extremely well on the phone. It really does. Like I was like impressed, like control wise and everything else. How good it is. I mean, it's old as shit, obviously.
But of course.
God, it's so good. Again, they're just games that I hope they do. The remake, I hope the remake happens. I hope they finish it. And I hope it does it justice. But if they change too much, Steel, they're going to ruin it for me and a bunch of old heads. But God, it's just so good to go back to those games and understand what peak RPG creation was like back then. Like, it is just from the get-go, Steel. From the get-go with old school graphics, old school controls. From the get-go, that game is just simply a masterpiece from BioWare. It is so good, man. I love that game. I love both of them, obviously. They're both the GOATs. So, crazy.
Then next up on our list here, I also had Summer Games Fest. We'll probably touch on that. Again, we spoke a little bit on it. And then there was a article specifically that Sly Crow sent me that he said he wanted to get our thoughts on. And it is something based from Switch 2 and some news that I found out about that. But the article goes into, the title of it at least, is Video Game Consoles Are Dead. So, yeah. We got a nice little lineup there of things to talk about this week. That was the thing that I was forgetting about that I was playing. I was playing the fucking Division 2. I jumped into the Battle for Brooklyn DLC. I even did a live stream for it and everything. I was like, damn, I feel like I played something else. I played that before Nightreign. That actually was like my stand-in before. I call it the Nightreign waiting room. But I played some the Division 2 Battle for Brooklyn deck. That was actually a really good time. I went in on PC. I thought I had a character that was a little bit further along. Apparently not. Neither here or there. Got it through Ubisoft Plus. Ended up creating a new character. Jumped immediately into the DLC. And there's something about like getting back to what made that game fun in the first place. The challenge that presented there, not having no build, trying to get yourself familiar with how everything is working, the level up systems, all of that. It just felt really good to kind of go moment to moment and have some fun with it, man. Being back in the streets of Brooklyn. See, New York always fun. It's just a good vibe, man. So the story seems all right. Those so far, but I will be honest though, it didn't like pull me all the way in. I wasn't really paying attention to it. I was more so trying to hold down them streets, man. I was trying to make sure that everybody was safe. There wasn't no hostages out here. We would just get out here getting it in. Ozzy says Dirk Greedy was talking about Division 2 and showed Fuzzy Belvedere's playtime. It was like 132 days. Yeah, Fuzzy and PTK both got hella days in the Division. I played a lot of Division as well. I was never that deep, right? To that level. I mean, although I got hundreds of hours as well. But coming back to it, taking those breaks from it, jumping back in, not super hardcore, but getting that, getting your confidence back, playing on challenging, and just feeling the game out again. It was good. I really, really enjoyed my time with the Division, jumping back into the Division. So it was a good time. That was it. Pong, shout these beautiful people out. Let them know that they are seen and we see them and they're having some excellent conversation.
Hey everybody, Lord of the Rings Gollum is on sale for $3 right now. I didn't realize that.
Excellent. I don't even think it's worth that.
I might have to for $3 just to see it, just to check it out. Again, there's a lot of games for $3. Under $5, there's a lot of games I will just buy without a second thought. Anyways, I just saw that. I thought it was hilarious. All right, let's shout out this beautiful chat, shall we? Got it. I wish I played Souls games, bro. I just love your gameplay. It just catches me off guard. From Software, just such a fantastic.
I just love their arts. I just love.
Yeah, it is. Their dark fantasy is just beautiful. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but for me it is. It's so cool, man. All right, everybody, let's see who's in here. We got the legendary Yobi, of course, dropping out by. Thanks, legendary Yobi. We got the one and only Decado. What's going on, Decado? Thanks for being here, brother. We got the Ozzy fan 66. Ozzy, you had a question for me very early on about how I got injured. Instead of typing it out, I'll give you the quick rundown of how I got injured, okay? Stupid. No, not squats, but leg press. I swapped. I was leg day yesterday. I changed up my whole routine. I normally start with heavy leg press first. I had done a bunch of other leg work yesterday prior to going to leg press. Wasn't even thinking about it. Got on that leg press, got up over 500 pounds, came down, and my left leg gave out. Old guy left leg. So what I did is I strained. They're called intercostal muscles. It's on the side of your rib cage. Is what kind of gives your rib cage stability. So it's not my core. It's not my abs. It's off to the side, my left side. Scrunched up instantaneously. I thought I cracked a rib. That's how it was. And of course, I was stuck there with over 500 pounds. I had to push it back up. So anyways, didn't help out. So anyways, that's what I did. So it's on my left side, and it's those muscles right below the rib cage, which means pretty much everything when you're trying to do anything. So anyways, that's what I did. Ozzy fan, thanks for being here, brother. Yeah, I am lucky. I thought it was going to be worse, bro. I thought it was going to be worse. And I got into an acupuncturist right away yesterday to try to help out. And I'm going to go see her again Monday to try to calm things down. And it's better today, but I did have to take some shit overnight to sleep, which is how uncomfortable it was. So, let's see what we got here. We got Live Supremacy jumping in here. I see you. We got the one and only Nixie. No need to look like Prime Schwarzenegger. I'm not trying to look like Schwarzenegger. That's the whole thing. I'm not even going close to that anymore. Like, that's not what I'm there for. Just dumb. Again, rookie mistake. Wasn't even thinking about it. Should have known better. Tip the Sorcerer. What is going on, brother? Thanks for being here. Rescue Squad Cope. I see you in here, brother. What is happening? Great to have you a part of the show. Who else? Got to roll up the Fastback 6768. What is going on, Fastback? Thanks for being here, man. I always love seeing you jump in here. We got the Nam Omar. He says the PC is always listening, Pong. Yeah, everything's listening to us nowadays. It's nuts. It's weird, though. It still catches me off guard, Nam, when it shows up. It's strange, man. Roadkill 8018. What is going on, Roadkill? Great to see you, brother. We got the Ray. Oh, what's going on, Ray? Thank you, brother. And again, thank you for the $20 super sticker chat. Hey, appreciate you, brother. Let me see here. Who else we got in here? Scrolling. East. So, Bando, what's going on, East Side? Always great to have you joining the show, brother. He says, Randy has really lost his mind. Ridiculous. That's what happens, man. You can only abuse yourself for so long. Shit starts going sideways. Anyways, Randy's always been off his rocker. Just a little bit more so lately. Def Leopard, what's going on, Def? Appreciate the birthday wish. Thank you, Def, so much. Again, everybody that did that. Joe Dumore. Again, with the happy belated birthday and welcome to the 50 plus club. Yeah, man. No longer the 40 club. We're moving on up. 50 club, man. Let's go. Got 50 more in me at least. Lydia Master. What's going on? Thank you.
What up,
also
Lydia?
for the birthday wishes. God, I love you guys. Thank you all. Ron Slusher. What's going on, Ron? He says ARP better offer some Game Pass discounts. Man, that'd be cool. It's about time. Gen X is becoming AARP now. We should start getting some gaming related shit in AARP. Should probably hit Phil up and tell him to add that. Who else we got in here? Boom, 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 boom. Oh, I can't go much further because my YouTube did that thing where it refreshes and then I lose my early chat stuff. Let me see as far back I can go. That's as far back as I can go. Masshole 1977's in here though, and I know he came in here early with a sup nerd. Sup to you, nerd. Thanks for being here, brother. He says cocaine's a hell of a drug, nerd.
Oh God.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Skiing will get you places. Randy, slow down, brother. You're old. Randy's older than me. You gotta slow down, brother. Who else we got here? We got Jesse James. What's going on, Jesse James? Great to see you. Said, what up, Cowboys? Ooh, we got some Cowboys in here. All right, Cowboys. And Fahim Scott is in here. What's going on, Fahim? Listen, y'all, appreciate y'all being here. Love every single one of you showing up on a Saturday morning. Again, light week kind of news-wise, unless you're into doom and gloom kind of stuff. It was kind of a light week. It was a light week, but we all love you. We love you for being here. We love you giving us your most precious commodity, which is your time, and joining me and Steele on a Saturday morning to listen
100%.
to one old guy and one young guy bullshit about this industry, man. So, and to talk about getting hurt, the gym and shit like that. So yeah, that's what we do here. Anyways, love you all. Thanks for being here.
Yobi, he says, don't YouTube have a section where it shows all the people in chat that are listed? It does, but it also doesn't always list everybody, right? So like, for an example, it's only showing 3, 6, 9, 10 people in here right now. There's been more than that have have been chopping it up. It doesn't always get everybody. So that's why it's kind of like you just go up the list. Some people tab in, they tab out. Again, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not.
No, it's just because my thing refreshed, so I couldn't scroll back. Normally, it lets me scroll all the way back, but this time it didn't. So sorry. But if you're all in here, whether you listen to us now or in the future, we love you.
Hey,
so
I greatly appreciate it. There's nothing but love, man.
Absolutely.
People been joining the hype train. People have been subbing and getting in there. So it's good stuff. Where do we go from here? I don't know. I don't know if I have anything in particular that's like really touching my fancy right now. Although I did see Pong shaking his head, and I think that'd be a good way to jump in here about this Xbox handheld stuff. So let's start off with some of that. This is an exclusive from Jez Corden himself. He says Xbox first party handheld has been sidelined for now, as Microsoft doubles down on Canon and Windows 11 PC gaming optimization. Double down on Canon. I believe Canon is the one they're doing with ROG, right? If I'm not mistaken, that we saw some leaked images out there. I did hear a little bit that people were saying that, hey, you know, if that's the console they're releasing, it's ugly. They're not going to be really successful with that. People also talking about the price again. I thought that was an interesting part of the conversation. Again, I think the last time we spoke on that was, I want to say a few weeks ago now at this point. I had mentioned, I feel like the device was going to be $1,000 at least. Just because of what they were trying to go for, but I don't know. We'll end up seeing. But there was kind of an insinuation, and even Phil himself has said that they were working on a handheld device, right? No specific timeline or anything like that. It was supposed to be possible the next couple of years, potentially. But again, Phil didn't lock himself in place with it, but nonetheless, it has been a conversation that has been going on, and to see it now get sidelined, it is interesting, if anything else. But he goes on to say, Xbox's handheld ambitions come unabated, but the focus is shifting towards improving Windows 11 for third-party handhelds. For now, the Xbox Series X successor is totally safe, with the development continuing at full pace. Goes on to say, just to emphasize here, it's not Xbox's Asus device Canon that is being pushed back. It's Microsoft's own internal Xbox handheld that has been shelved for now. Jez says he has a variety of code names for this unseen device, but it's unclear as of writing which exactly is the correct one. At the moment, it seems that there are 3 prototype devices in development for Microsoft's Gen 10 effort, with the handheld being parked for now. Let me get this up on screen for you guys as well, so you guys can kind of follow through. Although me and Pong are in different places, that's quite fine. Don't know why it's like that on this screen, but you know, it's how the cookie crumbles. We got to keep things interesting here. You know, Pong is me and I am Pong. How y'all like that? The people won't be confused. You know, it'll be all right.
We're interchangeable, Steele. We're interchangeable. We're good.
We try to be. But it goes on to say, indeed, Microsoft still wants to build its own Xbox handheld in the future, but Microsoft has decided to prioritize its team to improve Windows 11 gaming performance, specifically for devices like the Asus partner device, Project Canon. It's possible that the existential threat from Steam OS, which on paper delivers better gaming performance than Windows 11 itself, has informed these decisions. Our sources have indicated to us that Microsoft is still deeply invested investigating and developing its own Xbox gaming handheld. But it was announced internally today that the priorities are moving more deeply towards third-party OEMs handhelds in the interim. Goes on to say Project Cannon is the codename for Microsoft's partner Xbox handheld with Asus, and we understand that Cannon is still targeting a launch for later this year, 2025. The hardware side is essentially finished. Tentatively, we believe that this device to be among the first using the AMD Z2 Extreme, but we are still working on solid information on that. It says there's a significantly boosted effort between Xbox and Windows teams to improve the experience on the software side. Goes on to also additionally say Microsoft is also working on the next-gen Xbox cloud systems, which are now in testing at Microsoft's HQ in Redmond. The new cloud platform should bring its latency closer to parity with NVIDIA's GeForce Now service, which is arguably the performance leader right now, and still integrates Xbox PC Game Pass. NVIDIA GeForce Now just launched a native app for the Steam Deck as well, presenting another competitor to Microsoft's cloud gaming strategy. Microsoft was previously working on a cloud-first mini console dubbed Hobart, which was also canceled. So, essentially, the main crux of this that I'm pulling from it, and Pong, I want you to kind of add on because I know you saw you shaking your head a little bit over there, and so you're dissatisfied with something. Maybe it's a key, it's a door that has been unlocked for you, but I don't know necessarily how I feel about them pushing their own plans forward. Back about their own console. The one thing that it would tell me is I do think it is interesting to let other manufacturers develop your handheld while you focus on R&D for whatever your mainline console is going to be until you solidify however your software is going to be for whatever hardware you develop for in the future. I do think that allowing other people to do it and you giving people an option is a way to get in the door. But there is still something to say about the Xbox branding side of it, to where I don't know if this new ROG Ally is going to say Xbox on it, as an example, right? I know it's going to have an Xbox button, but is it going to say Xbox on the back, ROG Ally Xbox or whatever? I don't know. Is that going to be a team thing? I'm also seeing Microsoft blatantly allow other companies like PlayStation do things with their IP. Forza Horizon as an example, Horizon 5. PlayStation just recently did a trailer and has no mention of Microsoft at all. Xbox, Microsoft, nothing in their trailer, which I thought was really weird. Again, something to consider. But it could be some windows giving you insight into what Microsoft may be doing or how they evaluate certain things. But Pong, I mean, you were shaking your head and everything. What is this scratching at you for? I should say. I'm gonna line it up like that. There's something that bothers you quite a bit about this move, but overall, how do you feel about this being sidelined and they're seemingly putting more focus on getting Windows 11 right on the software side versus getting out their own handheld device? You're muted.
I'm not muted. I just haven't spoken yet.
Okay. My fault.
I shake my head because this is Microsoft. And this is what again, it's very easy for them to quit things, and it's very easy, and they've done it so much in the past that it's hard not to see this kind of thing. Like I've said all along, we got one more generation from Xbox with hardware, at least. I still believe that. However, when you see stuff like this happening, how long have they been talking about fixing Windows, Steel? How long?
Well, it's been an ongoing conversation, yeah.
Bro, we can go back to 2016, interviews with Phil, talking about Windows. This is a massive problem for them to enter some of these spaces. And we've talked about this. We've talked about this for a long time. believe that they can do it, obviously. Anytime you've got money, anytime you've got a group of people, engineers that are obviously talented, okay, especially with the Surface team and that kind of stuff, and Jason Ronald and his team, I think it can be done. But it feels like this is a mountain that they're trying to move, and they've been trying to move it for a very long time. And whether or not they've just never put their full weight behind it,
Yeah.
that to me also indicates not a full commitment. This is toe dipping, and this is the thing that I've talked about. Sony doing this. I've talked about Google doing this. I've talked about all these big companies doing this. I hate toe dipping. If you're gonna do something, do it, or get the fuck out of the pool, man. What this whole shit about all the time, like one way or the other. Oh, we're thinking about doing this, or we're gonna do this, but we're gonna try this. Oh, now we're gonna pull back from this. Too much of this has started happening. This feels to me, and this is why I said, as much as I said that we get one more generation at least out of Xbox as far as hardware goes, I also did say really early on, Steel, that Xbox would be the first to exit the hardware business and become a full third-party publisher. I've said that all along, and I don't think that's some big giant guess. Obviously, looking at Sony and looking at Nintendo where they are, it's not some big out on the limb kind of speculation. But this is wise. This is why. And I think that them pulling back once more, we know for a fact, Steel, years ago, they already had a working handheld, a native S handheld prototype in-house years ago. I understand that tech, battery life isn't always where it's at, where you want it to be, but for your brand, if you're serious about moving forward with hardware, and you truly believe that the handheld space is a space where you need to be, and we've heard that PlayStation is working on their own true handheld to get back into that realm again as well. If you believe that, you've got to stop toe dipping. It's fine if you want to do this whole ROG Ally thing. It's fine if you want to do this third party thing. That's fine. Again, I get it. But you've got to keep moving forward and get your own branded native handheld. Nixie's correct in the chat when it comes to this stuff. You can have a handheld that does both kind of the PC thing or whatever else. But more specifically, when you're Xbox, you need that native console feel to a handheld. And a lot of people are going to want to buy an Xbox branded, straight up first party handheld versus a third party licensed piece of equipment. Okay, that's just the way it is. People like that. And if you believe your brand Xbox still has power, which they do still, and this is something I've been talking about, this is where I differ from the whole exclusive thing not mattering anymore. This is where you start to dilute your brand. If you believe your brand is Xbox and you're trying to say Xbox is everywhere, then I think you need a handheld in the space if you're going to be in the space that is straight from your first party, that has that first party feel to it, that is straight up green. You can give other people options. That is fine. I have zero problem with options, obviously, but you need that to have that presence in that market for yourself if you're going to do this. So I don't like this. This is Microsoft Corp. This is what happens. And Microsoft Corp, as I stated, took over Xbox, especially after the ABK deal a long time ago. This feels like the money men talking again. This feels like them going, whoa, we're spending way too much R&D here. Way too much R&D. The cost is going to be, let's just have our third parties do this. It's going to be a lot cheaper for us in the long run. And I do worry still, as I see this. Again, there's a little itch. When I shake my head, there's a little itch in the back of my head that as far along as they seemingly are in the console, the next gen console still, and as far along as we keep hearing all those words, Jeff Grubb just confirmed, I don't know if you saw this deal, Jeff Grubb just confirmed that he also confirmed with multiple sources that the whole Steam Epic Store being available on the next Xbox is true. That's what they're going for, that all the stores are going to be there. As far along as they are in that process, Steel, when Microsoft Corporation is involved, until it's out, until it's something I can purchase, there's a little itch when I see stuff like this that goes, they could pull the plug. They could pull the plug next year on the console. They could say they're done. They could say they're just going full third party. They've seen enough. They've seen enough success. putting their games everywhere. Third parties will license our stuff out to third parties. They're more than welcome to make some hardware, but we're out of the hardware making business completely. We're going to be a software company now, and that's what we're going to do. That's what we've always been. And that's why I don't like this. I thought with them really quadrupling down on a lot of the stuff going forward, that it was more secure. But that's why I've always brought it up, that I didn't like it per se. Like, I don't like the fact, like, the wishy-washiness, how they've gone about this whole communication process of this big change in the middle of a generation. It still bothers me. Now, do I believe that they're going to come out with a console? Yes, I do believe we're going to get an Xbox console, and I believe it's going to be the all-in-one package deal. I do believe they're going to try as a last go to do something that has been tried in the past with Steam machines, etc. Something that was talked about long ago. The reason why Microsoft got into this industry to begin with. The threat that Bill Gates felt that Sony was trying to capture a living room PC world. And that's why they went ahead and fired up the Xbox, because he was not going to allow Sony to do that. I think they are, for once and for all, going to try to break through that barrier, to create a convenient machine that gives you PC and at PC performance and abilities, but in a console form with that kind
console
of
interface,
flexibility and convenience factor involved. I think they're going to try to do this. And like I said, I think there's room for it. I think there's a possibility that they could grab some extra, market share with that type of box as something, as a companion that people will buy in addition to their PlayStation or their Switch 2, or even their PC. And they will put that alongside their TV if it works and if it's convenient. We still need to find out whether or not they can fix Windows to a degree where people actually will support Windows games. But if they're going to offer all the other storefronts, does it really matter at the end of the day? No, it's whether or not they could sell this box as something that's going to be meaningful to people that are going to want to fork over the money to put that on their next to the TV. I think they still have a shot, and I think they're going to take that shot and see what happens. But this just screams to me still that it's just one step closer to pulling the plug on everything and going full third party, just software, straight up. It's just, it irks me. Again, I hate toe dipping more than anything. I really do.
No, I definitely get that. That's why the conversation about them doing a handheld and then the next generation Xbox also possibly being a Switch-like device, it's very confusing to me. And I feel like I'm conflating maybe a couple different things, because I know they're working. The conversation was that they are creating their own handheld, but there were conversations that we were having previously as well, that the next Xbox was a console-like device that can be taken in handheld as well. Is that the same device, or was there a separated out device that they're creating, or is the next Xbox now going to be officially just still a standalone box that has access that is again 100% the most like a PC tower that we have ever seen, but it is just Xbox interface? So are we completely foregoing the handheld nature, and we're just going to let the other manufacturers allow you to see what is going to be possible in that handheld field? Again, because even for gaming, we're just talking about on the gaming side of things. I think there was a Steam chart or whatever that went out here recently, or Steam graph or whatever. There was a study that was done. There's still 97% of people who are playing on a Windows device when it comes to gaming, right? So Microsoft has the overwhelming majority as far as that goes. So even if with Steam making its strides and Linux becoming more of a thing, and Microsoft has allowed themselves plenty of room for them to kind of figure out what steps they need to take that is going to be beneficial for them moving into the future. we have discussed here before that we do eventually feel like the hardware is going to take a back seat. I get from you that you think that it's probably going to happen much sooner than later. I still think that no matter what, they're going to continue developing hardware, at least a box that you're going to be able to acquire. Because again, even with multiplayer gaming, it's going to be extremely difficult for the people like us who do have the money, who do spend the ducats, the adults, you know what I'm saying? You're going to want to continue to reach out to that audience who sees a value in that experience. And if you find a way to not only tap into that audience once again, but also get your player base to see that there's a greater understanding that needs to be had as far as how you engage with your form of entertainment in gaming, I would love for it to be Microsoft through Xbox to demonstrate that to people. If I can boot up my Xbox, whatever Xbox that I get, and Steam is available there and the Epic Store is available there, which are things that can be highly possible. And again, these are conversations that are going to continue being had because nobody knows how this is going to work. You know, the first thing that happens is people say, well, how does that work financially? Well, if everybody's eating off the plate, I mean, what's 100% of zero? It's still zero. So if you're able to cut into the pie somehow, again, Xbox by itself, 50 million subscribers a month, just as an example, you're making over $1 billion a year. I think it's even more than that. I think it was like 10, I think it was like 12, I think it was like $1 billion a month actually. Now, and I could be slightly off of that because I hadn't ran the numbers here as of late. I ran those numbers like 3 weeks ago. I forgot exactly what it was, but there is a churn that is happening and you are actually growing your base. Whereas the other people in this space who have a service that is similar are having the adverse effect. You do have more active users than ever before. So again, I definitely understand where you go with it on a software side of things because it's maybe very easy for them to lean into that. But again, I will always just have to bring back up, at least this is my kind of pushback, is as a company, as a corporation, as knowing what you had to do to get into the hardware market, it just does not make sense at this point for you to not. You may like step back a little bit from yourself and say, hey, you're going to make my Xbox now. You're going to make the Xbox now. You're going to make the Xbox now. And we're going to have these different versions that are scalable, but it doesn't matter because we have one game that can be played on whatever box. At the end of the day, if it still says Xbox, I think that still accomplishes their goal. Right? Now, again, in the sake of Sony, since Sony is the hardware manufacturer developing their PlayStation, now that's something that they would never do, right? Because that's always been their shtick. Now, I wouldn't see a problem with a Samsung developing a Sony device. I wouldn't see a problem with that. Now, with Sony, for sure, because that's what they're supposed to be good at. But Sony has also shown that they are not what they used to be on a hardware side either. And hardware manufacturing is only going to become more complicated. So unless Sony figured out some secret sauce, because you got to do something more than just sell a bunch of consoles. Because that's what they've been doing. And they've been doing that successfully for the most part. Again, for this generation, the current gen, not including Nintendo, because again, they're not part of the same conversation. Not including Nintendo, they're running the month. They're running it. But they don't have the games to speak for that. That typically would tell you that, oh, this is why somebody gets a device because of these games. That is not happening this generation at all. And we're a half a decade in. So I think it is smart for Microsoft to start making some changes. I get the step back from it. Hey, you guys said you were going to do a handheld device. You know, this is something that you were looking at. Hey, Phil, you said that you don't like how obtuse it is to get Xbox running on these different, and this is what you want to focus on. Sure. But if my partners are now opening up their doors to me because gaming, the number one form of entertainment, is only going to be expanding further. And now we see publishers and other developers also opening my doors to me now that I'm allowing games to go wherever. I'm able to cut deals with them to do this, to do that. It does continue to play into that Trojan horse theory that I always keep going back to. Now, again, this is long ball, right? We won't know what the truth truly is until we get to it. And we're not going to know for another decade probably of what their real moves are, or by the time they release their next Xbox or their next console, whatever it is. We'll have a better idea of where things could possibly go. But I only continue to lean into that Trojan horse theory because, again, I will continue to be at the top of the mountaintops. Microsoft is proving the one thing that people denied them for the longest time, that what they had wasn't valuable. It is valuable, but the consumers are consuming it differently. So now, let's meet the consumer where they're at. Oh, now people want to get in bed with us. Oh, now you want to make this device and that device. Oh, we see these options over here. Oh, we're putting, you know what? Instead of doing R&D on that handheld device, let's put more R&D on what we got going on the console side, because we heard Steele, not saying that they did hear me, they probably didn't, but we heard Steele say, hey, he wants to see more R&D on these consoles because, hey, we as a corporation, you know what's different as of today? There's no difference. So how can we get somebody to believe in our next product? Easy. Give them more access. And if I give you more access and more ways to buy my device and my software, how is that not a win-win for me? As long as it's still under Xbox. Now, and that's why one caveat that would cause me to be like, you know what, Pong? It's starting to look real gloom out here. If they ever remove the Xbox branding off of whatever the device that they were creating or doing or partnering with, whatever, I would be full in and believing like, damn, bro, they really look like they're outmoding this thing. But it would also depend on where they're at that point. But it's just really hard for me to connect one and one together if you remove one of the important pieces that made Microsoft a more digestible company for people, and that is the branding of Xbox. True dilution of your brand is removing it off of marketing and off of branding. PlayStation, making it seem like Xbox's name or Microsoft's name cannot be on games that they're deciding to show on our platform, although we're eating from that as well, is something that needs to be talked about. That's weird. Because if it was the reverse, Sony would never allow that. Sony would want you to make sure if God of War ever came to Xbox, the first thing that you would see is PlayStation Studios. You wouldn't get an entire trailer where you just get the title screen of the game and they show you the game and then they say coming to Xbox. This wouldn't happen. Again, that does play into my whole competition conversation that I kind of brought up last time as well, where for what I wanted to see and how they could play that game, and what we got into a lot last week. But that's just my kind of viewpoint on it. I'm not overly negative about it because I am interested in their next handheld part of the next handheld that's being made through ROG, which is in partnership with Xbox. Now, what are they going to put on that device? What is the OS going to be? Is that why they pull back? Because they need all hands on deck to make sure the OS is where it needs to be for this device. As an example, if this is supposed to be like a training ground, a proving ground for you. So that's kind of where I go with it at this point, and my kind of insight on it. So I'm not overly negative, but it does kind of like say, I don't know, man. It's weird. What you got?
History, bro. It's just history. It's Microsoft's history. If they didn't have a history of doing this stuff, it would be different, but they do.
That's fair.
Is it as long as Google's? I don't know. I'd have to look side by side because Google's obviously been known as the ultimate toe dipper for a long ass time. How many things they've tried and then canceled. I just in Xbox isn't even like a try thing because it's been around for so long now. Like Xbox,
Yeah,
was,
but that's what I'm saying. It's 24 years. So can you say
right,
it's like
but,
history?
But now, right, and to that point, it is different. However, now that they've switched strategies, that longevity, that amount of time in the market does not matter to the shareholders or to the higher ups. It's what have you done for me lately and where are we going to make our greatest profit? That's what it comes down to. It's not about anything else other than the bottom line and the profitability of that. And if they believe, Steele, if they believe that they can do what they're doing right now, maintain the Xbox brand as a ecosystem, not as a specific device, but as an ecosystem. And they believe that that ecosystem will thrive without having hardware directly developed by Microsoft and Xbox, then the shareholders and the money men are going to do that. Pure and simple. If they think that they can thrive without that presence in those specific areas,
I don't think they know. I don't think they think that. I don't think they think that yet.
I'm just saying, I don't know if we're getting closer though. And
100 million subs, maybe. If they ever get to 100 million subs, I can definitely truly start hearing it for sure.
But they know, the back of their mind still, they know they can cancel Game Pass at any fucking time they want to and go back to selling traditional games.
I don't think so. At this point,
bro.
I don't think so. I don't think so because it's become an incentive for you. It's become an incentive and a part of your brand now. It's so technically in line. If you got rid of Game Pass, you might as well just get rid of your gaming division.
No, because
if you did it that way,
they can go sell third party.
But that's the thing. Okay, but that's the thing about. I will always vehemently agree that they would ever get rid of Game Pass because it also is proven that it's not hurting their bottom line at the end of the day. Because all you're doing is getting people to engage more than they ever had previously. We're proof of that. Other gamers that are coming into the ecosystem are proof of that. You still have the option to buy the game, so why would you remove another option?
Problem is, the calculations wise, would they make more by removing Game Pass?
No, they wouldn't. They would make less. Nobody's going to buy those games, bro. That's been proven too. Nobody's going to buy the games.
But still, then they would just trim. Then they would cut out studios.
Then we would never get South of the Midnight. We would never get a Pentiment. We would never get Grounded.
I don't want this future, Steel. Let me make this clear. But I'm telling you but the money men don't care about South of Midnight. Right?
But the money men have to care because there's still the creative side to it that you have to take in consideration.
Look at 2K.
That's
2K used to make and publish a ton. But Microsoft is no different. That's my point, Steel. This isn't the cute gaming this isn't the cute little game division within Microsoft Corp anymore. This is a pillar sitting at the table, and it is viewed differently by those in charge and by the shareholders. It is viewed differently now, and it is about what is the most efficient way to make the most profit. And that's where these questions and these calculations start to happen. And that's why we've seen this change of course mid-gen, which has never happened before. Actually, before even mid-gen, we were only probably a third when they really started.
The generation that we're seeing, that we're seeing right now, we've never seen before.
Right. I understand that, but I'm saying that if the company was still on board with all of what we've talked about, the massive change, the massive 180 on strategy wise would not have happened the way that it happened. Again, they sold their customers a completely different vision at the beginning of this generation to what it is now. Completely different. There is no argument. What the vision was, what we were told we were getting from Xbox, completely different. Again, I don't want to see this happen. in some ways being devil's advocate here because I'm looking at this stuff and I'm looking at Microsoft Corp from their history.
When you say
going,
completely
they don't
different,
care.
what are you speaking to? That's not what they didn't uphold from the beginning of the generation.
They sold us on a traditional console experience. They sold us on exclusives.
I mean, we have that.
1000%. No,
I mean, exclusives. I hear you. Exclusives. I hear you.
Still,
We have a console though.
Right, but the traditional console experience, which meant the exclusivity. See, again, you still downplay what that means to people, and that's the part I always fight you on. It's okay that you don't feel that way about
I downplay it because y'all are blatantly admitting that you don't want gaming to grow. You want it to be stagnant.
No.
Based off of realistic information.
That's not true because gaming has continued to grow no matter with that whole everything. With all of that in place, gaming continued to grow.
Well, they had to change their strategy though, and that's part of gaming growing as well.
They already did. They went to PC. They went to PC. So they did change the strategy.
They got y'all brainwashed. That shit is crazy to me.
No, it's not. But Steel, it's not
brainwashed.
because Steel.
Look, this is the only generation.
What happened Steel, was the dev cycle broke.
This is the only generation, and last generation, where you can literally have no differences in your hardware, and people will still make excuses for it and say that we need exclusives the way that we had it before. It makes no sense. That makes no sense because again, you're working off of what has happened previously, what has worked previously, and previously there was difference in the hardware. Since Xbox One and PlayStation 4, that has not been an existent thing. So this need for we need to play the same exclusive game that we've been playing because of this, that, and the other thing, when I can blatantly demonstrate to you that I can give you value in other ways or give you benefits for our ecosystem or for my box or my platform in so many other ways than me just talking about this whole exclusive game. That shit just never make sense to me. I think it's infallible. I think it is hard to negotiate that Gears, as an example, even with it being on Xbox 360, if it would have came out a year later on PlayStation, it would have been a significant thing for that brand. I think this is something they should have started doing earlier, of getting rid of the exclusivity mentality so that my games can see more success. Like that's where my disconnect is.
Explain Nintendo.
Nintendo is not in that conversation, bro.
But explain. You have to explain it. Then why are they not failing?
People do not engage with Nintendo hardware the way that we engage with Xbox and PlayStation.
But why is that?
And PC even.
Why? But why is that?
Because it's seen as a child's device. It's a childlike device. It's
not children buying the Switch. It's not.
They're buying it, but they're buying it for their children. Most people, the Switch is a family device.
Bro,
more than anything.
You got to stop. Now you've been brainwashed. You've been brainwashed by Nintendo propaganda. That is not true. The people buying games are adults, bro. The people buying the games en masse.
Okay, so all the adults, they're the ones that are they're buying it for all the Mario games, and those are the games that we're going to compare and say are in the same conversation with Xbox and PlayStation.
No, I am saying why does it?
So the conversation is different.
No, it's not different because it's still gaming.
But that's why the whole argument with the FTC bringing in Nintendo was an issue. Because it is different. We've proven that. We've talked about it. They are not seen the same way as Xbox or PlayStation. They're not the same gamers.
But still, it's still the same conversation because they are wildly successful having straight exclusivity.
And I could argue they'd be more successful.
You can't play anywhere. But the argument doesn't matter at the end of the day. They still remain the most powerful name in this industry, despite all the changes you and I have talked about, despite all of this stuff, Steel. And so you have to be able to explain why it works for them. Because there is power in that. That's all I'm saying. There is power in that. Dismissing that, I think, despite the fact that, again, I've agreed, we've had tons of conversations here and elsewhere about how things have changed as far as the hardware goes. And how it is all very similar now, right? And so it's very easy, but we still see devs' resistance to this. We still see devs giving their less than all to an Xbox Series S, but the minute the Switch 2 shows up, we're going to find a way to port over Cyberpunk, no problem, and get it all on a cart. We still see the problem with that still. where it's, as much as we like to say that the hardware is all the same and it's still not happening. It's still not happening from the devs. The dev cycle is what broke. The cost of gaming is what broke. If you go back, take away the hardware and go back to look at the creativity of this industry and the amount of different games that we used to get from the big publishers. Okay. The amount of different games that we got from a 2K back in the day versus to what we get now. That's what's changed. That's what's broken. But that's what exclusivity used to bring, because there used to be money involved in bringing those types of games to your console, much like how Sony went out and bought Stellar Blade away from everybody, right? That used to happen, but ahead of time. They would cut deals with third parties to create a game specifically for your console. That did create unique experiences that would not have happened otherwise if it was just, make the game for everybody.
What made Mortal Kombat better on Genesis versus Nintendo?
The blood.
That's a hardware feature, right?
No, it was a Nintendo feature.
Okay. Something Nintendo did.
Nintendo edited it. Yeah, Nintendo refused to allow the red blood on their console. Yeah.
Same game, available on both platforms, still so well. People prefer to play it on one platform because it offers them something that you didn't get in somewhere else.
Closer to an arcade experience, correct.
I mean, I do think that gives you a baseline for what I'm speaking to as far as why that would work, because you could still do it in a different way. You don't have to play the same traditional game.
But they're not doing it still. But they're not doing that. In fact, it's rumored right now that Xbox is going to offer a bundle for Call of Duty on PlayStation and not on Xbox.
We got it in Game Pass. If I can get the expansion for $30, I mean,
but again, what I'm alluding to is that goes away from the console, right? That they don't care about the console experience like that. They've diluted that side of things. That's why this whole advertising.
Nintendo don't care about the console experience either. You're playing 30 frames, ass game, bro. There's not. People. That is pure brainwashing, because people have accepted that that's okay on that device. No, that's not.
Get it there, because you can only get it there. Still, exclusivity. You can only get it there.
I think that Nintendo is the one company that people will say anything they need for the sake of demonstrating that exclusives matter. And for a device that blatantly people excuse for not having the same standard as any other device. Nobody holds the same standard for Nintendo that they do for the other companies, which is why we do not put them in conversation when we're talking about the big boys in games, or when we're talking about on the hardcore side of things. Like, that's just not part of, that's why it was questionable when it was introduced in court. Why are you bringing Nintendo into things that we're talking about? It's a different market. It speaks to a different audience. The way that they engage is differently. Just because those people have accepted Nintendo's malarkey doesn't mean that that's okay, or that should be the reason why exclusives matter. I could argue that on the opposite end, they could make all the games available to everywhere, and they would be so much more financially viable and see so much more success than they ever previously did. And guess what? People would still buy the Switch. Why?
So why don't they?
It's a handheld device that works.
So why don't they steal?
Because
why
they believe,
they have shareholders.
Like you in the older generation, they still believe that the game needs to be played a certain way. Because it's been working for them. Why would I leave my sheep in a different? No, they don't care.
It's about money.
Yeah, because they don't care.
No, but if they did all the financial deal and that was true,
game.
If they believed that, they would be doing it.
If they don't have to believe it, if the people are sheep, if the people are going to follow regardless. We can do bare minimum. Pokemon has proven you can do bare minimum. Mario has proven you can do bare minimum. Yoshi, all their characters outside of Smash Brothers has proven, even Smash Brothers, all these games have proven, hey, we can do bare minimum with bare minimum hardware and sell it to people at us getting a financial gain, and people will eat it up. People will buy it every time. They won't complain about it. We're getting more and more information out about Switch 2 that it's not even the device that we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So again, but this is acceptable for Nintendo. Nobody else looks at them this way. That's why, and I'm not saying that anybody else has to play the game the way that Xbox has to do it. But when you're when your only main competition has been PlayStation since you stepped onto the scene, there is nobody else. Nintendo's not your competition. Not trying to play into what they got going on. Nintendo made a sweeping change as well. With Nintendo's success, that should be telling you everybody should be making should be making the handheld devices. Or maybe not, because now with phone technology, if I can deliver that experience to you on your local device, if I can deliver it wherever you can be, again, like technology is also going to define how we move forward into the future. I'm just because I am also not saying that just because Xbox is doing something different, that everybody else has to do the same thing. I'm saying that it is working, at least from what I have observed as a gamer for myself, and it is also working for the audience that is engaging with the ecosystem. Because when people, this is the main crux of my backing of the argument. Xbox has long surpassed them just being a console. And this is where my argument is always going to stem from, because it's not in the hardware itself. I am a fan of Xbox, not because of an Xbox console, because of the ecosystem that they've always put in front of me. That ecosystem could have been wherever I needed that ecosystem to be. It could have been on PlayStation, could have been on PC, could have been on my phone, it could have been on whatever. Xbox has been the ecosystem since they've taken the streets with multiplayer gaming.
So why isn't the most popular ecosystem in the world then?
Because of how people engage with their hardware. Because popularity still wins. Because people were telling you that Xbox games didn't meet the same metric that PlayStation games did. But then years later, they're now playing Xbox games and loving them.
But they're playing them on their console of choice, the popular console of choice. And that popular console of choice got that way because Sony was playing the old game, and still is to a certain degree. Because people, whether they buy it for that or whether their friends buy it for that, they believe still in the premium quote unquote experience that PlayStation
a premium experience that they haven't sold you anything
with
on.
their exclusive. Correct.
This generation,
again, you know how I feel, right? You know how I feel overall about this. I'm just simply making the argument that we can sit here and talk about what should be, but that's not what reality happens, right? And why, again, it's not that Xbox isn't going to be successful. It's not that Xbox isn't going to, of course, sell a ton of games everywhere that they put their games now, of course, right? Financially, they're going to be fine. Neither one of us has ever claimed that Xbox is ever going to die. Like, that's not the case. They're too big. But the point being is there's still a reason why Nintendo and PlayStation are the most popular brands in the entire world when it comes to gaming, and they've done it the old traditional way. And the 360 generation, when Sony did screw up, Xbox was there with exclusives. Exclusives is what put them on the map, right? Exclusives is what made the console special. It became the dude bro shooter box for a reason, because you couldn't get Gears on PlayStation. And that was massive, right? You couldn't get that experience. And of course, the online network helped with things like Call of Duty and Battlefield. Of course, it was the best place to play online gaming and all that kind of stuff. That stuff's all evened out. But it was the exclusivity of those titles, of Halo being on the Xbox 360, that nobody could get anywhere else. Forza, when it overtook Gran Turismo and became the racing game, it was only on the Xbox 360, right? That's what pushed that console to the limit. And again, the follow-up, PlayStation, when they changed their way of doing things and found this game that works for them, the third person over the shoulder cinematic-like experience, and they fully went into that. Even if it wasn't the masses playing those games, they got the popularity back after Xbox dropped the ball. So I think to say that exclusives are done or have no power anymore or aren't important, I think is just underselling the mentality of the consumer. When they do, you go buy Nike. A lot of people buy Nike because Jordan was associated with Nike still to this day. And obviously there's been a ton of other athletes, right? We can go down the list, but I'm just saying Jordan because it's the easiest one.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if Jordan put his brand everywhere or put his name on everything, it wouldn't hold the same power.
That's again, but that's different. You're conflating things that there because you find different values in more things than just one brand of shoes.
I disagree though, because why do you think Nike became so big?
But that's not but we're talking about Xbox and all the things that they offer outside of just exclusive games.
But I'm saying to the masses, I'm talking about the popularity issue that we're talking about, right? The popularity issue. What drives that popularity? Right?
It's supposed to be the popular games, but the popular games are all second and third party games. So where is that? And that's what it has been over the last decade.
But not for the core audiences on Nintendo and PlayStation. Right? Well, I mean, especially Nintendo, but again, this is what it is. I don't know. I don't know, man. Like I said, I I agree with you as a gamer, right? I don't give a shit where I play my games. I don't give a shit. I'm just saying that Xbox had a real chance this generation to really, really compete. And they gave it all up a third of the way through the generation because of the ABK deal and a host of other factors. They gave it all up, but they had a real opportunity still to compete 1-for-1 with Sony. And they could have taken mindshare. We all were talking about this. We all believe they could have taken mindshare back. And I think that the list of games that have come out now and the list of how big Game Pass has been over the past year and a half speaks to that. And I think had they played that game, the old school game, and had things worked out differently, obviously the pandemic was something that nobody could plan for. I think we would be looking at potentially different numbers, not upside down, not completely reversed, but I definitely think that Xbox could have been making strides. And I think they could have been making strides towards that 100 million Game Pass. Maybe. Again, Game Pass has proven to not be the big seller that I thought it was going to be for sure, and that people don't want to consume their games the way they consume movies. And I think that's played out. And people that said that from the beginning were absolutely correct. It's different. But I think the exclusives could have done something here still. But again, it's neither here nor there. It's just an interesting conversation because we kind of brought it up around this. So, but I don't know.
It's coming off the heels of, their hardware strategy and things that they're seeing. I mean, again, it's always going to go back to that conversation because their hardware strategy is in question for a lot of people, right? You are on the law side of a lot of things right now, right? 30 million to 70 million consoles. I mean, that's nothing to snuff at. You know what I mean? The main difference being though, PlayStation has not had the games to speak for the last 3 years at least.
Haven't needed them.
And again, haven't needed them, but now people who all the people who stated that they didn't want to play a certain style of game, even PlayStation has stated that they didn't value Xbox games or allowing their games, Xbox games on their platform. So even they don't believe in the same vision that they
they're making money.
The same way they did
Xbox
before.
is third party though. Xbox is third party though. They've always allowed different third party games on there. I mean, they don't care. PlayStation.
But if that's supposed to be your direct competitor, you see them as a competitor. It doesn't make sense.
But they don't anymore because they know Microsoft has given up.
I think that it's always been a facade, and it has just been a thing to make the consumer believe whatever they wanted them to believe.
Okay. I'm just saying Ubisoft games.
It might have been earnest competition earlier on, but
I'm just saying that third party. If you look at Xbox putting third party, they don't care. Again, Ubisoft games have outperformed their first party titles. Like Sony doesn't care, right? Call of Duty forever as an ABK.
Ubisoft doing it and Xbox is doing it. It's I don't know.
But it's not because they're making the same amount of money.
Two different things.
They're making the same amount of money and they don't care.
It's just like we got into it last week.
I know.
If it's about competition, then it needs to be about competition. If it's not about competition across the board, that just goes into the consistency thing that we always bring up, right? Like that's not consistent competition. You're not talking about then the games don't really matter for the competition. It's the box, although the box is not Brandon.
If everybody plays the same game, then absolutely the games do matter still. If everybody plays the same way and all the rules across the board like they were in the old days, absolutely it does matter. That's why exclusivity became a thing. Even to third parties, when these first party publishers when the first party console manufacturers went out and purchased third party exclusivity, that's when it still did matter back in the day. If everybody is playing the same game, but when everybody's playing different style or different version of the game, then no, it matters less. Absolutely. But popularity wise, it still speaks to the masses, even when those masses aren't necessarily the biggest fans of your first party titles. They hear from their friends that PlayStation is the premium place to play. They hear from the Nintendo fans that, you got to get a Switch if you want to play Zelda. You got to get a Switch if you want to play Mario. There's no other options. They hear that and they buy into it, and that extends the popularity even further. That's the only thing that still works, and that's what I was talking about. Because again, your brand is powerful.
And for him, you essentially brought up the same thing kind of Pawn brought up, but I'll touch on it. He says, still, Sony is literally right now selling a bundle with COD 6. Why? Because they don't have to market it anymore. You know what's funny about that? Xbox doesn't have to market it either. I could put it on PlayStation. Guess what? PlayStation got to holler at me, and guess who's getting a bigger cut? Xbox is. Sure. So at the end of the day, if we're just in cahoots with each other, regardless, then I need to see a difference what you're going to do hardware wise for me to believe in this exclusivity thing that people keep speaking to, because that's what to me has been my perspective. And again, we can all look at this thing completely different. Again, I know the way Pawn looks at it, but that's also why I'm always going to speak to my point, the way I look at things, and necessarily argue or just speak for how I see things. You know what I'm saying? Because people get passionate, and then people take it out of context. But because they ain't no hate, but I don't mind. I like talking about it when somebody's offering something opposition. You know, it makes good for good convo. Anyway, but I don't even know where I was going to take it anymore because I wanted to make sure that we were keeping things copacetic. So there's that.
It's always copacetic between you and I.
It was based off of Fahim. Yeah, but for him, if Xbox is just making more money selling it on PlayStation, as PlayStation is cutting that deal with Microsoft to get that done, PlayStation still is not making the money that they were making off of Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Like, that's still a mentality shift that is happening. But again, where I can somewhat concede in something is when you release a Forza Motorsport trailer on the official PlayStation account for YouTube, and there is not any Xbox or Microsoft branding. Now it's like, okay, it makes it hard for people to understand what is potentially happening, or for whatever narrative to be created. Because it does, at least from the outside looking in as a normal consumer, look like to me that, PlayStation just can do whatever they want. They're at Xbox, they're at Microsoft's bidding, or Microsoft is at Sony's bidding. They have to, whatever demands they make, they have to meet. And just knowing how business works, I can guarantee you, with Microsoft being the bigger business, that's not how this works. Just because Sony has the better brand power doesn't mean that Xbox is trembling at Sony's feet. Like, and that's the way people pitch it. And it's just because y'all may not see the hardware vision or believe in what the future may hold to you. Hey, that's why I'm telling people, move into a different ecosystem then. If the problem is Xbox, then move into a different ecosystem. Or be like what Pawn says, ride it till the wheels fall off, take advantage of it as long as you can, because again, at the end of the day, you're a consumer. I could be dead honest with you and say, I am a fan of Xbox. I've always have been, as a brand. It goes beyond the console for me. That's why that's why bots or people who consider Xbots have a hard time understanding my perspective, because it goes beyond just the hardware for me. There's so much more to it than that. And it always has been, right? That's why I try to add context to the way that I look at things, as far as the industry goes, and the way that I approach the ecosystems and everything else, what I find value in and whatnot. Because a lot of the times what you do here when you tune into shows, when you tune into podcasts, out of all the gaming podcasts that are out there, is people telling you why one piece of plastic is better than the other piece of plastic. And I'm here to talk to y'all about games and the things that I like and care for, or appreciate and see and believe in, or can see a vision for. You know what I mean? That's my role as the consumer, you know, at least in my aspect. So that's that.
Ozzy fan says, you guys debate like my wife and I do. People think we're yelling at each other. You guys are like a married couple. Yeah, this is the cool part about two people who know each other.
Play it up a little bit too. Like, we're on a show, guys.
Oh, we do. And like I said, overall, you guys, I mean, everybody in chat for the most part here has heard us for long enough to know where both Steele and I stand. And obviously, as a gamer, I've said all along, I don't ultimately care. Again, it doesn't matter to me. If I can play the game, I'm going to play the game. If it's a game I want to play, I don't care who makes it. I don't care where I have to play it. If I have access to it, I'm going to play it. So it doesn't give a shit to me. Again, I gave up my fandom when I was Sega, when I was a Sega fanboy. So, but it just overall, you know, again, I still, you know, Steele calls it the old way of thinking, etc. about exclusivity. There is still a part of me, from a competitive person in business, and I've said this all along, I've been consistent with this from the time that Phil started waving the white flag. Steele will back me up on this if you guys don't remember. I've been consistently saying that I didn't agree with Phil's mentality as a competitive person, as somebody in business, as somebody who, you know, again, who, if I put myself in his shoes, would never wave the white flag like he did, no matter what was being said. And there's been some people out here, you know, and again, people, you know, are all over Tim Dog again. We've had that conversation in the past too, but Tim Dog's obviously been on his soapbox a lot again. But I do agree with Tim that if I was Phil and this stuff was put on me, I would have retired. I would have walked away. I would have said, this isn't my vision. I'm done. And again, I don't know for a fact whether or not Phil agrees with all this stuff or not. Just from what he originally used to say to where we are now, I can't see that he agrees with all this. I probably would have walked away. But if I was Phil, I would still want to be competitive. So when I have these discussions with Steele, it's that competitive side of me that knows for a fact that Xbox, with the backing of Microsoft Corp, with the acquisitions that they made, had they played this the old way, had they gone hardball and gone 1-for-1 with Sony, not that they would have just changed the entire dynamic of the industry and flipped it, and Sony all of a sudden would be, you know, selling half of what Xbox is selling. I'm not saying that, but I've said all along, I believed, and I still believe, that had they done that, that Xbox could have made waves in this industry in a good way, playing the old kind of rules with Sony, and going exclusive for exclusive and holding things back and making people come to them if they wanted to play certain games. Either they could have made waves in a good way in an effort to kind of change how their brand is perceived, how Game Pass is perceived, and they would have maybe gotten some of the mind share from the 360 generation back going into the next gen, where they could have really doubled down and really changed the game and how things were done in the industry. And I think that they gave up that power way too soon, because the money men, Corp, ABK, you know, $70 billion, biggest deal in Microsoft history, let alone gaming, but in Microsoft's history, just changed people's hearts and focus at the top within Microsoft Corp. And it became a whole different set of rules instantaneously when that happened. And to me, that still irks me to this day. So when we have these conversations, that's part of my irksome attitude towards this, is like, dude, they could have done it. And now that we see the games dropping the way they're dropping, it makes me even more like, God, you guys were so close. You were so close to everything we talked about at the beginning of the generation. Anyway, we've gone on long enough about this conversation.
the one thing that I will
It is what
add
it-
as a the one thing that I'll add as a cherry on top is I will say Phil has been consistent in saying that he doesn't believe in keeping games exclusive to certain platforms and all that. He's always said that he wanted games to be everywhere.
But he said that they were making the acquisitions for the purpose of providing exclusives to the Xbox consumer.
And again, I mean, I can't argue for the things that he spoke, that he said in one moment, and then things obviously had changed.
Correct.
But it is consistent in what his original statements were, that he does at his core does not believe in exclusivity. So what you do for the sake of trying to be competitive, and then when there's conversations that are had and you have to be like, well, I kind of wanted that anyway. But maybe that's why he is on board with what's going on.
Maybe, yes.
Yes, there was a time where he did look stressed. He did look stressed for a bit, but
well, we heard there was fights internally. There was fights internally about this, and again, there was just whatever.
What makes me question everything? I will forever go back to watch the Xbox On documentary, please. Yeah. That is the only, and that's the only reason, and that is one of the main backings, because again, we don't get a lot of this back behind the scenes information, what really happened, the conversations that were had. The only reason you can say I'm skeptical about everything and I'm putting as much optimism on it that I am, because you see how wild things can get behind the scenes. That's why Pong's valid in the way that he feels. That's why anybody that talks about anything that's happening in the gaming industry is valid in the way that they feel, because you don't know what is true from what is not. If I wouldn't have watched that Xbox On documentary, when some of that stuff happened in there, the way that it was pitched, how Xbox came into even the thought process, I never would have imagined that the Windows team essentially didn't want Xbox to exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, they felt like it was taking something away from them. You know what I mean? So it's like, when you even see internally that there are these major issues and people who don't agree, whole teams, whole divisions who aren't on board, there's only so much that you can tell when there's the biggest acquisition that you have ever made, and it's in the gaming industry where it is the number one form of entertainment. Oh, and by the way, the rules are somewhat changing because people are proving to move more towards a 90% digital future. And what do we do if that's the case? What is the next step forward? How do we look at everything? Oh, technology is moving forward. Man, NVIDIA Cloud has this service to where damn near I keep seeing TikToks and other videos of people actually finding out about NVIDIA, using the service and being like, and telling other people about like, yo, why get a PC when you can get this service? And you got the power of a PC for $20 a month. Or whatever their service fee is. If that is something that's a possibility for people, that may not be for us who are already part of that less than 5% of people who buy fucking games on a month-to-month basis. Why not? And that does require a different outlook. So, Fastback says gaming industry has always evolved evolved to what is trending. Consoles may not be. He says consoles may not be for now, but can come back 10 years. Who knows? It just depends on how things move forward, bro. Like we've seen huge technological leaps. Again, if you look back within the last 20 years of like just gaming history. Even if you go back to the OG Gears 1, when you play Gears Reloaded, there is a significant difference that you can tell. And would you have known that there's going to be that vast of a difference at that time? We're playing on SSDs now. That's one of the biggest leaps we made this generation. Load times. They've been doing it since the 1X and the PlayStation 4 Pro. Oh, we're getting these load times down. They accomplished that. What are they going to do? I just want consumers to think, what are they going to do for your hardware to make it enticing for the future? And I ask that from all the different platforms. Nintendo has the best battery life as far as a handheld goes because of the style of the games that they make, because of how they approach development. I don't know if any of the PC handhelds are going to get, or they're ever going to get to that. But we'll see. It is a battery. Maybe somebody comes with the greatest battery we've ever created within the next year. I don't know. We'll see.
Let me respond to 5.0 Trade Gaming real quick too. He says 5.0 Trade Gaming says we are worried about Microsoft, the richest company in the world, making more money. You're a consumer. And are focused on the wrong thing. This is gaming. And obviously Nixie agreed with him and said it should be pinned. The only thing I will say about those comments is when that discussion happens, you got to remember that part of the idea of why the company's value or the company making more money by making certain decisions even comes into play for a lot of people. It's not about per se. Some people, don't get me wrong, there's some massive fanboys out there that of course are all about my favorite company's got $1 trillion more than your favorite company. Like, there's some extreme fanboys who do that shit. But a lot of that conversation revolves around the fact that the idea, and now this is not even a 100% guarantee, but the idea around that conversation is that if Microsoft is making more money from Xbox, they are going to be willing to invest more money into gaming, into games for us, keep Game Pass alive for longer periods, more investments in the Game Pass. So indirectly, that conversation is about the games as a consumer and about the gamer. The health of a company that I want to continue to operate because they make products that I enjoy indirectly does affect me when you know for a fact that like Microsoft Corp is a publicly traded company. There is a reason why those discussions happen for a lot of people, including myself. Again, if I'm ever talking about people's companies' money, and we certainly have discussed a lot of business stuff through the acquisition seasons and all that kind of stuff. We have fun with it. But the idea is, I don't care. Again, you've heard my complaints about $80 games and all that kind of shit. They need to fix their dev pipelines. It's their problem. I don't give a shit anymore. It's not my problem. I don't like it being passed on to me. But the idea about these companies making more money, whether it's Sony, Nintendo, or whoever, is that the investment will continue to come back to us in the form of studios, in the form of games, in terms of Xbox, the Game Pass subscription service continuing to be invested in, which we've seen a ton of. Like, again, Game Pass over the past 3 months has been wild with the shit that they've got in there. That's the hope, right? Indirectly. So a lot of that conversation is around that. I just want to clarify that. And Nixie says Ponxol gamers are flexing companies' money, what execs are making because their priorities are not in order. It isn't because of the fund's other projects. And I disagree wholeheartedly, Nixie. Right? There is a portion of people, of fanboys, who certainly do that. I will give you that. But not every conversation is about that either. Again, when we talk about it here, that's not in the back of my head. I don't care about Microsoft as far as a corporation goes, about that they're worth $3 trillion and Sony's only worth whatever it is now, 300 billion. I can't remember what it is now, 200 billion. That doesn't matter to me. It is about indirectly the reinvestment back into our favorite hobby. So I would just shy away from that being a blanket statement from everybody who talks about that. But of course, there are fanboys who do that. Of course there are. There's crazies everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, record profits all from all the companies this year, and there's something else that we brought up as well. 5.0. We've continued to be on their neck for a lot of that stuff. Yeah. They have to be held accountable for the job loss, for the way they went about things, how development is going. Again, even with EA spending 4 years of development creating a Black Panther game, and for nobody to be for the game not even be in a prototype stage. I mean, again, for that, at least the way that they made it seem like there was no development to be done. Like, there are bigger issues. There's $1 million businesses just playing with people's money, all for the sake of creativity. And that's the kind of the realization that we kind of try to bring to the forefront. I think more so than anything is that the money matters. The money matters because of the product that you're creating. And if you're not creating a viable product, what are you spending this money on? And then with gaming being so volatile, because again, we as the consumer determine who wins or who don't. If you put out a bad game, your company is going to go down. And I can't do nothing if you're let go for that. So it's like with something with the form of entertainment that is so aggressive, you can't do nothing but try to have some fun with it and see how things are going to end up playing out. And to your point 5.0, I get you being a console only gamer. But for me, as somebody who will always continue to get whatever box that the Xbox has, I think I'm not worried about their hardware future. They keep telling me that they're going to deliver until the day that they don't, or like I mentioned earlier, or they decide Xbox is no longer part of their gaming brand. Then I'll come back right here on Living Split Screen and be like, damn, I guess Pawn was right, man. They didn't believe in the brand anymore. And so they outmoded it. We'll see how it plays out. But I got faith. If you're a console only player, I got faith. I got faith that things are only going to get better for you as a console only player. If as a console only player 5.0 as an example, and I'm not trying to single you out, but I get the perspective, right? Because that's a lot of people. I want people to be able to be console only gamers. You shouldn't have to get nothing else if that's the only thing that you're trying to do is, I just want to play some games. If as a console only gamer, I can give you an experience that's going to offer you more than you had access to before on a console level, and it's a console experience, aren't you going to want to support what I'm bringing to you? Aren't you going to support my vision? Isn't it more about the library and what I'm giving to you on an ecosystem front than anything? And if I deliver on those things, again, there's a lot of ifs because they got to make it happen, right? But if Jeff Grubb is coming back and backing that information up and saying, hey, that's what I'm hearing too. Jez Corden has done the same thing. These are people who are in the know, who have conversation or know people that are in conversation with these folks. And even if you do a little bit of research, pull yourself back, take that RTS approach and just look at, hey, how does the industry move forward? They're saying things are getting more expensive. Meanwhile, you're seeing more publishers, developers saying that, hey, we want our games to be experienced by more players because obviously we have these players who don't want to move forward. All they do is play Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft, this game, that game. How do we tap into them? So, 5.0 Trey says, I don't agree with the way Xbox is going, but right now I'm playing on my Series X, trying Doom on Game Pass on my PlayStation 5 Pro watches. LOL, and I agree still. And again, that's the other great part. You don't have to agree with what Xbox is doing. What is working for you as a consumer? And if no other platform is offering you what you get on this platform, as long as you got a reason, I think that should be more so what you're considering than anything else. Do you have a reason to still be here? If not, then get rid of it. This is the time to be more frugal than ever. If you don't have that, that's why I do not have a PlayStation 5. Point blank, period. Factions would have been the number one way. Not going to deliver it, so I'm never going to get it. They'd have to do something extremely substantial, like release a big PvP or MMO, which those games want as many players as possible. So it's not going to happen. At least for me. But you have to come up with those reasons for you. But that's what makes this interesting. And we'll continue to make that interesting. Yeah, Nixie says, for my gaming taste, PC can't be my only platform. Everything doesn't get released over there. True. What were you saying, Paul? My fault.
No, I was gonna bring, because people were talking about Nixie and others and Decado and stuff were talking about how the AA and the indies are gonna, carry a lot.
Oh yeah, we mention that all the time.
Space. Yeah, we talk about that all the time, and I think that's what's great for somebody like Trey. If Xbox does pull off this next console and does have these other storefronts available in their steel, people are going to introduce the gaming that they. Again, Nixie just made a point that not everything releases on PC. Absolutely. But the thousands of games that are PC only that never go to console, if Xbox pulls off a hybrid console system that actually works, and people are going to have their minds blown. People like us who like to try a lot of different things.
It has chance. It has the potential.
It has the potential because you'll open up as a console only player. Suddenly you will have access to storefronts that you had never accessed before. And you're going to go, oh, you're going to be like me when I first got my PC. Like I kind of knew because obviously I pay attention and I look at the different games and I always knew there was this whole side of PC gaming that never shows up on console.
But when you start
seeing it, and you start seeing the deals on them, and you start seeing the types of games that are being made that never get hype unless you are absolutely paying attention. You will never know about some of these games. That's why Steele and we both try to retweet a lot of indie developers on our X side of things because we follow a lot of indie. It's stuff that you would never know about. And you look at it, you go, why is this game not getting hype? Look at this. This is like right up my alley. This is the cool shit. My wish list is ridiculous on Steam. It's ridiculous. And I think that that's going to be the coolest part about this. If they do this next console the way everybody's talking, that there's going to be a whole lot of console only players like Trey and like many, many others who are all of a sudden going to have access to games that they never would have before and sales that you would not believe on gaming. And you're going to have your mind blown. And I think it's going to be great if Xbox can pull it all off.
Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest question is the if. Again, this is something that is unprecedented. We don't know if it's truly going to work the way that we think that it is. That we hope that it is. There's a lot of questions that are still left to be answered. How does it all work? I can see how it can. If more people are able to engage, more games are going to be bought. That's a win-win for everybody that's involved. So I guess we'll see, man. We shall see.
Jeez.
Good conversation.
Just an hour, 20-minute conversation about everything under the sun. It started out as Xbox handheld on hold.
Hey, we went from Xbox handheld. I mentioned, we mentioned the next gen console development continuing.
Bro, we got in a whole conversation about exclusivity.
Yeah, I get, as we do. Let's do something. Let's have some fun. Let's just roll it right into Summer Games Fest. This is happening next Friday, June 6th at 2 p.m. PT or 5 p.m. Eastern, which would be 4 o'clock Central for me. Jeff Keighley, man. Supposedly there's going to be some things here. Pong, I mean, what would you be guessing that we could possibly see at a Summer Games Fest? Are you more hype this year than you possibly have been in previous years? And I mean, what do you anticipate being at this type of show?
Bro,
something Xbox, something Sony. What you thinking? Something Nintendo, a little Nintendo action.
Xbox, we're definitely gonna get Switch 2 stuff. We're gonna definitely get Xbox. Xbox, I imagine, will have 1 or 2 games there at least that don't fit into the show, maybe even more because of how much they have. So yeah, PlayStation wise, I mean, I think Death Stranding 2 obviously is
Death Stranding 2.
Yeah, Death Stranding 2 definitely could show up here. Of course, it's Kojima. It's again Keighley, Kojima, best friends forever. I definitely think we could get a new look at that. I think we're gonna get a bunch of release dates at Summer's Games Fest. Now that GTA 6 has moved out of the way. I think that a lot of the studios that were holding back this year are locking in those dates. So I think we're going to get a lot of updates on games that maybe we've seen before, but we're going to get new trailers, new gameplay, and then a bunch of release dates for the second half of this year. I think the second half of this year could be spectacular. First half of next year also, because there is a window from about January to about March-ish, early April, that you can avoid the GTA hype as it's going to build up, where you can still launch. But I think that's where we're going to see a lot of Games Fest. I have no clue still as to new stuff to expect here. We have so many updates from studios that we know. IO Interactive and their James Bond game. We've got to see that at some point. Is Summer Games Fest the place? Is the Xbox Showcase the place? Like, I imagine IO is going to show up at some point with that game. They've still got Project Dragon too, supposedly the fantasy game out there as well. But James Bond's probably further along. So we got stuff like that that's been hanging out there for years still, that we have no clue, like, that could pop up at any given moment. Maybe Ubisoft is ready with the Splinter Cell. Maybe that's what that tease was about, Steel. Maybe it doesn't show up at the Xbox Showcase because Xbox is just so damn full now. But maybe they show up at Summer's Games Fest, right? And show off Splinter Cell for the first time. There's a lot sitting out there. I know it's cliche to say, but nowadays it's true. There's so much hanging fruit that is ready to be picked. Like, it's got to be getting ripe. There's so many studios making games now that I think it could be full. I think Keeley did confirm it's the most partners that he's ever had for Summer's Games Fest, right? So I think that kind of speaks for itself that this is going to be a big one. And like I said, now that Grand Theft Auto moved out of the way till next year, I expect even more. I think there's going to be a lot of people ready to show this year and release this year. Even if it's really traffic jam, you don't want to be anywhere near Grand Theft Auto next year. You don't. You just don't. So I don't know. We'll see. It's exciting. I can't believe we're on showcase season.
Yeah, I mean, it's already showcase season. That means.
What do you think, Stu? You got any big guesses? You got any big guesses?
Any big guesses? Nah, other than things that I've kind of already been excited for. I think Mecha Break is probably going to show something else here to continue ramping up that hype.
That's a good one.
Chrono Odyssey, the MMORPG, I think they're going to actually end up showing some more gameplay at Summer Games Fest. This would be the stage to do it.
Are we getting Arc Raiders? Is Arc Raiders for sure Summer Games Fest? Is that?
They said they're making an announcement on Summer Games Fest.
Okay, so yes, we're definitely going to Arc. Yeah, so it's going to be massive. That's going to be a big announcement.
Yeah, it's going to. I mean, Arc Raiders alone making any form of an announcement. If it's a beta, I won't be as excited because I don't need another beta. Sure. I'm already sold on it. I think that's definitely convincing for everybody else that if you want to find out whether it's for you or not. But with the way conversation is going about it, I think it's going to be a release day, and I think that would be a really good way to start a weekend as well. Because that's the other thing taken into consideration. You come off a Summer Game Fest Friday night. People got all Friday night into Saturday. Pong, I'll be real with you. We got Arc Riders dropping that night. We might not have a show Saturday, man. We should probably just been playing some Arc Riders. Yeah. Just to be real, because it definitely was one to spend some of that time gaming. That's the type of excitement that I have for there. Other than that, I mean, I definitely want to see some more Eastern Flair, right? As I always tend to do, that over the top. I would like to see maybe some more stuff about Where Winds Meet, right? Yeah. That's the other one that I've been trying to put people on about. Again, played their most recent. They put another closed beta out there, and it's like, I would say at least twice as improved as it was previously, especially on a combat standpoint. The way that the game feels, the way they intro it, they need to do a little bit more work with the on-rail segments for like that quote-unquote cutscenes for things that you can't really control. I think Ghost of Tsushima definitely still does that a little bit better. But for a game it's supposed to be more mobile facing and is coming to PlayStation as well as PC, that's another one. Again, Wuxia style, martial arts style game, way over the top. Think Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and the over-the-top nature of that.
Great character
to a next
too,
level.
right?
To a next level, huh?
Great character creation too, right?
Yes. Really solid character creator. You can definitely make some good looking people in there. So that's the standout. And I think Crimson Desert may be at Summer Games Fest as well. Mm-hmm. And of course, that's going to be one. Again, I'm going to be right there with Crimson Desert because I was there for Black Desert, right? Crimson Desert was supposed to be their next iteration from Black Desert, and they went the single player route, which I'm extremely excited about. And I see more people getting familiar with some of the gameplay or being exposed to the gameplay, I should say, and being like, I don't know, man, this might be my next one. And I'm telling y'all, man, y'all in for a ride. If they're able to combine everything like I think that they can, and especially being able to ride that dragon, if they can top the way gameplay felt in Shadow of War and Mordor, or Shadow of War and Shadow of Water, if they can top that feeling, I think we're in for something special. Because I tell you what, in the Shadow games, there wasn't nothing like, maybe it was just 2 more than anything. There was nothing like teleporting to your fucking dragon and just getting back to the action, dropping back down, getting some assassinations. All that game was that's one of my favorite action games for sure. They did Lord of the Rings. Oh my God, it's phenomenal. Anyway, but yeah, that's kind of my highest anticipations. The ones that I'm looking forward to that just kind of they've been out in the wind for some time. I want to see some official announcement, like release dates for these now, right? It was Shadow of War. So my fault. But yeah, Shadow of War was so freaking good, bro, on every level. Yeah, but Crimson Desert, man, I think I can't wait for y'all to experience that, bro. Like I really wish that I was like a brand. I was on the brand side of them for Crimson Desert, because I would be on the forefront. Like, yeah, bruh, this is going to be the one. And if they do end up implementing some of the co-op things that people are rumoring, because apparently there's co-op elements in the game as well. Supposedly. That's a rumor. Again, we don't know all the information about the game. That's what I would like to see. So, other than that, I don't know.
What's Techland been working on?
That's Dead by Daylight, right?
In the show.
It's Dead by Daylight, right?
Yeah, Techland. Yeah.
What maybe another update?
Dying Light, you mean?
Dying Light. Yeah, my fault. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Dying Light 3? You think they want to do a Dying Light 3 now? We played
they had so much
60 hours of that damn game.
I know. It's so good.
Damn it.
I know, we haven't gone back
it's even better now. And it's like 6 times better now.
I know. We got to go back. It was such a good game, bro. It's so much fun. I'm just wondering, because they're a partner here. I'm wondering
a new fantasy RPG. People are saying in the chat it's a new fantasy RPG.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm always down for.
They announced it last
RPGs
year. I didn't know that, Dakota.
I don't remember that. Are you serious? Oh, dude, there's been so much announced, but that's crazy. That's why I was asking, because I was just looking at his Keely's post about who was partner, his first post, and I was like, Techland. What's Techland bringing? That's right. They haven't said anything in a while, but if they did say something like that, I see Sega on here. Sega definitely could be here. This could be a spot for a Persona 6 announcement. This could be a spot for Persona 4 Golden Remake, which is rumored. If you guys didn't, any Persona fans out there, there's supposedly a remake happening. Well, a voice actor from the original, I forget the gentleman's name, from the original Persona 4 kind of confirmed, because somebody asked him flat out, and he's like, I have not been contacted about the remake. I don't think I'm going to be in that one. So he kind of confirmed that he knew there's a remake happening. So, and obviously Sega's got reboots of a lot. We know Shinobi's coming out later this year. I think it's scheduled for release later this year. But they're supposedly working on a bunch of different reboots, like Crazy Taxi, etc. Part of their big massive.
Which I'm
game,
excited if Golden
whatever.
Axe actually comes out in this fucking
dope
co-op game.
Yeah.
Woo.
So yeah, I imagine Sega could definitely be there with some of that cool stuff too, as well. Again, I was just looking at what we got, who's going to be there, and trying to see if there was anything that I could Focus is going to be there. They're always IO Interactive is a part of the list too. IOI is a part of this
007.
list.
Finally get a look at 007.
I think
it would be a perfect time for that.
In. Oh, and I'm so in.
A modern day 007 game?
The perfect match, bro. If they bring the attitude, but it's the perfect match. Everybody said it. It's
going to be third person, right? I imagine
third person, like Hitman. But yeah. I would imagine. I don't think they're going to go the Indiana Jones.
Just leaning what they're good at.
Yeah. Yep.
007 is perfect for that. Make it more cover based and stuff like that.
Yep. It'd be so cool, man. 505 Games is going to be there. Atari is going to be Bandai Namco. Bandai's always got games in production.
Bandai's always has something. Yeah.
Always has something. 2K is going to be
Dragon Ball related.
True.
2K being there.
Yeah. When do we usually get our first look at the new NBA? Is it round? Could be. I think
it could be around this time. It could be around
Could
this
be around
time.
that time.
Max Payne.
think I could-
There is that Max.
Yeah,
there is
yeah,
Max
Max
Payne,
Payne.
the remake.
Yep. Although
They're
2K could
supposed to
just
be doing the one
Borderlands.
remake.
2K
Borderlands,
could
yeah.
just be Borderlands 4.
But
which-
they're doing. It's supposed to be doing Max Payne 1 remake and Max Payne 3, right? I thought there was for sure a Max Payne 1 remake being done.
well, no, because but that's
Or maybe they dropped
who's
that.
who's
I
doing
forgot.
each one. Who's doing each one? I can't remember who's.
I don't remember.
Anyways,
I haven't. Look it up.
Max Payne 3. I'm trying to remember.
Oh, it was supposed to be an announcement of Max Payne 1 and 2 remake.
Yeah, but that's being done by whatchamacallit, right? God, failing right now.
Remedy? No.
Yeah, Remedy. Thank you. Yeah, Remedy. Yeah. Remedy's doing those. And there's just rumors of 3. 3 hasn't been confirmed yet, I don't think.
Okay,
So,
that's what it was.
but hopefully, they probably won't do it. Anyways,
5.0 says, anyone in here been playing Splitgate 2? It's decent. Hope it can stay alive. But it's worth checking out. Yeah, I don't have any interest in Splitgate. I'd rather play Halo. That's just me though.
yeah, I mean, I think it was a risky move.
It's cool
by
seeing it.
Splitgate. Splitgate had a ton of hype.
They had some
It was a
server
risky
issues.
move. Yeah, it was a real risky move though for them to pull completely down and just switch over to 2. They had a lot of hype. And again, competition only goes up as the years go by in
Yeah.
the multiplayer space. Interesting that they're coming back now. But I hope the Splitgate fans get it because again, I mean,
Yeah, 100%.
Mab and those guys were playing and having a great time with it when number 1 was out. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch them try to relaunch that with Splitgate 2 and see how if they can grab that attention back again because they had massive hype for a while there. They came out at the perfect time. Nexon's
Yeah, but I
there.
I definitely get the Nexon. They're still updating First Ascendant, bro. Looking better and better. I mean, that's another one that's there too. But Nexon is always working on something. But I was always working on something.
Yep.
Matter of fact, I think is an MMO. Nexon upcoming.
They got so much. They got stuff going on all the damn time, bro.
So Nexon's behind Arc Raiders as well. So there's that embarking in Nexon. So you have both of that. The First Ascendant, Project AK. Is that the? I don't think that it is. I was gonna say because it was like an over the top character action fantasy game. I think Nexon was working on. They showed some time ago. There was another character action like fantasy game that we were shown. I don't know if it was by Nexon or who it was by, but that was another one that was on that list. Let's see. Cartwright Drift, First Berserker, Project DX. Is Project DX that one? Let me see. I'm looking it up here just quickly on Google. Project DX looks like something else. I don't know about that. Action release is summer. Oh, action release for the First Ascendant. So they could be showing that off. It's been having a consistent base. It's Max Payne 3 and Remedy is partnered with Rockstar to do it. God Emperor says. Okay.
Really? It's been confirmed?
I thought that's what it was for 2, but not sure.
Yeah, I know the originals were
1 and 2.
Yeah.
What was I getting on there about? But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much as far as my thoughts go on Summer Games Fest for sure. Nothing else that I no.
It's showcase weekend. I'm expecting surprises though, for sure.
It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be filled because the Future Game Showcase is the next day, which is that Saturday.
Which I love. Yeah.
Which maybe we don't do a show and do that instead. I don't know. Could. I do want to talk about what was shown the night before though, like Summer Games Fest. That's going to be interesting. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what's going on that day. I know the Fun Spec fam was talking about coming back too, so we might do something together and get it rocking and rolling, just have a good time like we usually do. during this time. Yeah, nah, great gaming week. Like I think this next week that's coming up in gaming is truly the spirit of E3 revitalized. Like what I mean by that is just the amount of games that we truly don't know about yet or need to get confirmation of or a release date for, in comparison to the games that we have already gotten this year. What else is there to be delivered? What else are you going to tell? It's only going to get worse. Like, it's only going to, like, and I mean worse in a good way, because again, you got to think about things were pushed back 2 years in the gaming sphere because of COVID. If this is things now catching up or people getting on board, you got to think the next few years is probably about to be bug nasty. Fahim Scott says Steel Rain is Where Winds Meet that game where the guy was fighting a guy while holding a baby. Yes. and you are the baby. Come to find out, which I also thought was an interesting concept. I like that. Very gender neutral looking baby. Could be a boy, could be a girl, who knows? And then you make your character after they introduce you to the game. That game is fire. If y'all have access to it, y'all are in for a treat as far as that one goes too. And that's supposed to be like an MMO light type of style game. It's also the game to where, because I see it more so sold this way on like TikTok and YouTube. It's also the game where you see the dude jump up in the air, slash the air 3 times, and then he starts flying. That's not a cutscene. That is an ability. Like, you could just do that. Like, that's not fake. It's not, you know how some games say, they make it look a certain way. Like, no, that's one of those things where we are always teased by it. I feel like Dynasty Warriors maybe even played into that. That's one of those things in games where they've always played with that idea. And I feel like this is the first game that I've played where, no, you can actually do that and more. And that's just a little piece. You thought you had abilities in Wukong. Nah, this is something completely different. And what I mean by, let's lean into the fantasy element. Let's really get into our martial arts bag and start digging deeper into some of the spiritual side of those things and pulling out some elements and how it interacts with the earth. And that's the stuff but I like that type of shit. So yeah, it's an amazing time for gaming. Shane says, I just disagree with Pong. Xbox had no chance to compete. PlayStation 4 and digital library era ended the console wars. Starfield, Forza, Halo, all exclusive, and it did nothing. These people will never buy a Xbox.
And we'll never get to know Shane. So, from that standpoint, you're right. And you, Shane, you've been listening to us long enough. You know how I generally feel. Again, as a gamer, I don't care. But I would have liked to see it played out. But again, we won't be able to do that. So you're correct because there's no denying that that's just not the way things went down. So it is what it is, man. I just wanted to see it, and I still would have liked to have seen it. That's why those conversations still come into play. So I think again, not that it would have reversed the roles, but I think that they could have taken some of the mind share back. But doesn't matter, man. Spilled milk at this point. Just good conversations to have, especially just revolving around exclusivity, because it's still being used to this day. Exclusivity is not gone. It's still being used. It's just a good conversation to have about how these different companies are using it or not using it and what our thoughts and feelings are on it. That's why we even got into it. So it's a good one.
Yeah, and then a couple quick hitters as far as, because I mentioned in the beginning with stuff that I was playing, the Division 2 Battle for Brooklyn. I think it's a solid DLC. I think the DLC itself is like $15 or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe okay. I'm off base in that. Either way, it's a fun time. If you're looking for a reason to get back into the Division, I definitely suggest doing so. I mean, again, I don't think it's so drastically different from what you've played before, and I haven't experienced anything in game. They come out with a different chem launcher that shoots like a wall, like a barrier type of thing. Well, it doesn't shoot a barrier, but it gives you and your teammate in a general vicinity bonuses to being in cover and stuff like that. I don't use that, so hey, it is what it is. But as far as jumping back into it, brand new character on PC.
It is $15. It is 15 bucks. There's the deluxe version for 25. I don't know what that gets you, but anyways.
Yeah, no clue. I probably cut some kind of cosmetic.
Yeah, cosmetics.
I can tell you it felt good jumping back in the division, but again, that's not surprising for a game that I already enjoyed previously. I will say, me going in with a new character did add on, like I mentioned in the early show, those classic division feels that I had early on. That feeling of, hey, you can't just burn through everything, because I didn't have a build, I didn't have anything, I was just picking up stuff off the floor. You know, that feeling of, oh, I'm still trying to get my stuff together. But still making progress, being in those moment to moments. That AI, how relentless the AI can be, right? Flanking you, finding different ways to get around you and stuff like that. And you having to change up your flow. I like what they did with the mission structure. So, and how things are set up. I don't necessarily have anything that's a favorite about it. Again, I've been lightly paying attention to the story. I mean, it seems like it's interesting. Maybe Keener. There's some other things going on with Keener or whatever. I don't know. So, but yeah, it was fun. Fun jumping back into it. Shout out to Slow Mo. I was watching him play some gameplay. I was like, you know what? I'm not really feeling nothing else right now. Let me jump into some Division 2. And I had other shit I could have been playing, but hey, this is what it is.
Talk to me when 3 comes out, Ubisoft. Talk to me when 3 comes out. I'm done with your bullshit. Anyways,
that's fair. No, that's fair. I guess we can roll into this thing here that Crow wanted me to talk about. Wanted us to see if we could touch on a little bit here. I'll see if I can kind of roll through it. It looks like it's more of an opinion piece than anything. It's from a site called aftermath.site. Again, I've never heard of this site before, but maybe it was on Crow's heart. So I told him we'll bring it up, because I always find it interesting, especially with the console conversation that we had earlier. Sith Lord Vintage dropping the 2 bones. He says, happy half a century, my man Pong Soul.
Thanks, Seth. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for being here.
Nixie says, I saw Steel like 6 a.m. one morning streaming the game. Yeah, I do have a stream up of it. I was gonna end up doing another stream as well. Figured I was up, said fuck it. I want to give people a feel to see. Maybe you've been away from the division for some time. You want to jump back in, and you can get an idea of what to expect. But let's get into this article talking about video game consoles are dead. Shout out to the homie Sly Crow for sending this on through. Let me see if I can change the size of the screen here. Oh, of course I can't. Not that way. Boom. There you go. Now you can see how dead they are. Everything's dead. Video game consoles are dead. While Nintendo still focuses on console exclusivity, the rest of the video game industry is changing. And this is done by Carly Vellucci. Again, this definitely seems like more of an opinion piece, but the Nintendo Switch 2 is on the way, and the question on everybody's mind is how much it'll sell. It makes sense that its success matters to the press, business analysts, or anybody with a social media account. The Switch 2 feels like the only video game console left. The last effort of a product that once at the core of a whole industry is now slowly being phased out. Yes, there are other consoles still on the market. We have a PlayStation 5, the Series X and S, and a host of handheld devices like Steam Deck and retro emulation consoles. Sony launched a high-end version of the PlayStation 5 last year, along with a cloud streaming handheld, while Xbox is working on its own handheld. Not anymore. Video game hardware isn't going anywhere. As long as there's video games, people will make devices that can play them. People will keep buying them too. I have every current gen console in my home and will somehow obtain a Nintendo Switch to squeeze into our entertainment center. I'll switch between my PC, Series S, and PlayStation 5, playing one of the hundreds of indies in my backlog with a mouse and keyboard on my PC before heading upstairs to truly enjoy Expedition 33's gorgeous graphics of the PlayStation 5. When I go to bed, I'll pull out the Razer Keystick controller and attach it to my phone to play something through Steam Link because I can't afford a Steam Deck. Yeah, that is a good option. It is a good option. I don't like it, but it is what it is. I know this console-laden experience isn't universal. I live in a house with another video game journalist. We can justify buying consoles because we can write off their purchases on our taxes. But I wonder if this will be the last generation where we would get every new console. When friends who aren't in video games ask me about whether they should finally get an Xbox or a PlayStation, I often answer with a shrug. I tell them to spend more money and get a decent gaming PC or get a Switch. Which device matters less in a world where video game consoles are being replaced by cloud streaming subscription services, in a world where the console makers themselves have other interests? They're too expensive. There's usually some sticker shock when a new video game console is revealed, but there was a lot when the Nintendo Switch 2 price was announced at $450. We all assumed it wasn't going to be higher than the Switch 1's $300 price tag, but a $150 jump felt huge for a Nintendo console that, for the first time, didn't change much for it from its predecessor. The price also makes the Switch 2 more expensive than the cheapest Steam Deck and only $50 cheaper than the base PlayStation 5. That sticker shock only got worse thanks to Trump administration when it announced its dreaded Liberation Day tariffs the same day the Switch 2 was announced. Nintendo understandably delayed US pre-orders that same week, but that only made people more anxious. And that was before we get a price hikes across the gaming industry in response to the tariffs in May. Microsoft announced that it was not only raising the prices of its consoles up by $100, but that Xbox accessories and games were also about to be more expensive. The tariffs are a good short-term explanation for these price hikes, but they also come on top of just how poorly many of us seem to be doing financially. A new report recently revealed that most Americans can't afford basic cost of living, and wages have not kept up with inflation over decades. Beyond video games, things are just getting more expensive across the board. Okay, as you can see, I'm kind of skipping through here. They expect the Nintendo Switch 2 to sell well, all the economical turmoil. How can hardware matter when software is king? Years ago, I wrote that this console generation wouldn't be defined by stunning graphics, hardware improvements, or teraflops. It's about services. While Xbox kicked off the current generation marketing cycle with a tech demo for Hellblade 2, its priorities have since shifted to Xbox Game Pass and cloud gaming. Technology games have stagnated considerably to the point where Sony and Microsoft couldn't tout photorealistic graphics or processing power as much as they could with previous generation. Microsoft decided it wasn't just an Xbox anymore. And it's not just your console. Xbox is everywhere. You don't need an Xbox to play these games. All you need is the app, which now works on all things like your Fire TV or through a browser on your mobile device. Sony's subscription service, PlayStation Plus, isn't as high profile as Xbox's, but it's about as robust, with multiple tiers of new and classic games that change up every month. Again, the main difference is one gets games day one to its platform. I don't think it's comparable, but
people don't understand.
But hey, to each their own. To each their own. Even beyond subscription, the money in the games is in the games themselves. As Xbox head Phil Spencer told The Verge, the software part of the business is an easier part of the business to grow and scale. There's a reason Xbox has been building its stable of first-party studios alongside when it's acquired like ZeniMax and Activision Blizzard. Xbox was particularly excited about solidly entering mobile thanks to Candy Crush Saga maker King. And after dealing with a potential Call of Duty exclusivity battle with Sony, started using the everywhere messaging once the acquisition was complete. This move has been controversial to say the least among Xbox fanboys. So that's what we're doing in this article. As annoying as the exclusivity discourse has been over the past couple of decades, hey, Crow, am I gotta start vetting some of these articles, man? Nah. She goes on to say, do you have brand loyalty to Xbox because of Halo, or are you more single player experience because you get it from Sony's God of War? Or are you just going to keep playing Pokemon games until the end of time? That might be the only thing that sways your buying decision. Okay. But we finally seeing the end of exclusivity and arbitrary tribalism as a marketing tactic. Xbox has started putting many of its first-party titles onto other platforms like PlayStation. It started with smaller titles like Hi-Fi Rush, but Indiana Jones, Forza Horizon 5 are giant exclusive releases that are now on PlayStation 5. You don't need a PlayStation 5 to play PlayStation Studio exclusives anymore either, as they increasingly head to PC or sometimes even launch on both platforms simultaneously. There are too many console alternatives. Long before Xbox decided to put Games Pass on your phone or sell its games elsewhere, there were so many games on so many different platforms that you didn't need a console much at all. Okay. You might not be able to play specific games you want anywhere, but you can play something anywhere. For one, there's your smartphone, which most people have. Despite how many people view mobile gaming as a world of free-to-play, microtransaction-laden slop, it's not, for the record. That market is gigantic, and it's particularly huge in the Asian markets, where it can be attributed to a lot of factors. China banning consoles in the near early 2000s, which allowed PCs and eventually mobile gaming to flourish. And smartphones offering a lower cost way to play games as a start, all you need is a decent internet connection and you can start downloading games. The thing about mobile is phones have become a necessity pretty much to our standard of living now. And when technology catches up with hardware in that way, it is easier to get somebody to spend $1,000 for a phone, because it's not just a gaming device, than it is to get somebody to spend $1,000 just for a gaming device. You know what I mean? I think mobile's always going to have that leg up as far as it goes. Because again, yes, everybody has a phone. And the better that Linux gets, the better that Android gets, the better that iPhone gets, the better that Apple gets, the better that all the phone developers get with making a product, the more the lines are going to get blurred. Which should mean it should make it easier for your forms of entertainment to be accessed in any way that you see fit. So, I don't know. I just felt like there was something to add on there. But then there's PC. Despite the fact that PCs and PC parts are being hit with a lot of the same manufacturing and price issues as console, PC gaming seems to be doing better overall than console. Yes, PC gaming has seen more of a growth than console has, at least within the last decade, as far as reaching a newer audience or a wider audience. There's been more people, and again, I think that's a lot more of the 300 plus million console gamers that they say that there is. I think it may be more so them also buying into PC because they seem seeing the versatility. So although PC may be growing, I don't know if it's completely all new people jumping into PC as much as maybe it's still some of that same market, at least on a gaming front. Think about the PC as a multi-use device versus a console, which can only really be used for playing video games and watching media. While Steam dominates the PC distribution market, there are smaller storefronts like Epic, GOG, and itch.io, excuse me, and more that add to the possible games you can play on PC. Goes on to say, and I'll finish it up with this, and I'll pass it all over to Paul. Says consoles don't have much time left. Video game consoles still have their place in our ecosystem, the biggest being that it's the easiest, most cost-efficient way to play a lot of games. Sure, having a PC can streamline everything in your life beyond games, but if you want to just plug and play a box and play a game where it's expected quality and performance, then a console is the way to go. PCs are also getting more expensive thanks to inflation in tariffs, so I don't expect somebody's going to spend a couple $1,000s on a computer if they can do what they want on a $500 console. But consoles were dying long before tariffs came along to threaten the entire industry. With companies now relying on software and services rather than hardware and new products coming on the scene to fill the need, consoles can't. It's no surprise that manufacturers seem to be moving away from them. Nintendo, of course, hasn't, but once the Switch 2 launch comes and goes, we'll see for sure what the console market really looks like. Part of that future seems to be console makers pegging their hopes on Grand Theft Auto 6, a troubling indication of where we're at in 2025. When instead of marketing new technology or ecosystem to sell consoles, companies are looking at one game as the future. Meanwhile, Xbox and PlayStation are hoping you'll buy their games wherever you already are instead of on their machines, and the only standout is Nintendo, which is hoping you'll buy its console and its games because you can't have one without the other. The video game industry has long been defined by machines. There have been a console wars, infighting, countless articles on whether you should buy an Xbox or a PlayStation. Companies have risen and fallen on whether they can compete with the big three or if they choose if they chose one console over another for a game launch. There are people who have, for better or worse, based parts of their personalities on which company they like best. Many of us have to budget every few years to get a new machine to play new games. This is how it's been for decades, but that status quo is about to change. Pong, I think that's enough from this article here. A lot of personal flavor involved in there for sure.
Wordy. These writers are wordy as fuck. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say a lot of personal flavor that was thrown in there, but I mean, shout out to the Crow. Appreciate you sending this through, man. But I mean, how do you feel about those points and the conversation about video game consoles are dead? I think it kind of spins off the conversation we were having earlier, but what do you say about it?
No, the console market may be stagnant. The console market may be not growing to any capacity, but the console market is not dead. There is going to be people who want hardware, whether it's in their hands as a handheld or whether it is a straight up box next to their TV. Technology is nowhere close enough to go ahead and convince everybody, including myself, to ditch a box. Whether, that this is not the case. PC market is definitely growing. I definitely agree that there are going to be more and more people as these consoles get more and more expensive that start to think about the PC. That's why I've said all along, I believe the rumors from the beginning about Xbox trying to do a hybrid, because if they can make that market and give you a certain level of performance and convenience of a console in a box that gets people who are thinking about PC to go, you know what? Dang, that's pretty good. I think they can convince a lot of people to move in that direction themselves. And I think that that's why they're doing it that way. So I definitely see the PC market growing and continuing to grow. Again, as tech kind of evens out across the board, console-wise and PC-wise. And obviously, again, as we get closer to these $800,000 consoles, PC market's going to grow. But I don't think the console market's close to being dead. I don't think the Switch 2 is the lone last standing console maker. I don't feel that way at all. I don't think PlayStation's 70 plus million consoles sold indicates that that's the case. So I think she's wrong that we're getting to that point. I think it's a very closed, it's a very narrow view that she's taking here. And I think a lot of it is her personal feelings. And that's what she was projecting throughout that article. There was a lot of personal opinion, which is fine. Again, everything nowadays is opinion. But I think it was a very narrow minded as far as somebody who doesn't, I think, grasp the entirety of this industry still to this day. I think it's going to take another decade plus to get to close to that point where that might happen, but you're not going to convince me, Steele, to play on my phone. Okay. Again, I said I played some Knights.
I can't do it.
I fired up some Knights of the Old Republic. I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, that's about where it goes.
But that's where it goes.
It's cool,
I ain't coming home. I'm not coming home and plugging into my phone now. I just think there's going to be a whole lot of us that are going to be that way for a very long time.
I'll get those glasses that they're talking about. I'll get those glasses that you can put on, the X-Real glasses. I do like the concept of that.
Sure.
I'll get those X-Real glasses so I can have a screen in front of Sure. Yes. I'll do that before I'm doing this. I just... Right. It's not for me, bro. Like...
So I think that the console space might be shrinking. It might be stagnant. You can claim both of those things right now. But I don't think that we're anywhere close to the point of it disappearing. I think she's completely wrong in her opinion on that fact. I don't think that the next generation is going to move away. In fact, I think the thing that people forget is if technology doesn't get to the point where we can have the same experience, the exact same experience that we get off of hardware as we do streaming. I think as the kids, even if they are playing on their tablets and their phones now, as they get older still, I do think there are some of them, a portion of that audience that will move as they mature to a PC or to a console based kind of box. to
It'll be a
gameplay.
PC, yeah.
I think that
I mean-
idea that just because kids are tied to their phones and their tablets and that kind of screen time now, as they get older, that doesn't mean they're going to stick with that. Because again, they're going to go into the workplace. They're going to start using PCs on a regular basis. They probably already do in a lot of ways in school. But I'm saying that they're going to go to the workplace. Life's change when you get older. And I don't think just because you're here now, when you get the ability to buy things down the road, I think a lot of those kids and those gamers that stay gamers switch over to a much more mature product like a PC or console at that point. So I just think we're a whiles away from what she's talking about. I don't think this is something that's happening right now, Steele, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the consoles are dead either. I think we got at least a generation. Again, I don't know what's going to happen by... I mean, shucks, it's already being questionable now, and they're talking about we're halfway into the generation. If we have 5 more years of this generation, which we know we don't, the next generation is supposed to be starting in 2027. I don't even know what next generation means anymore because we don't even have that, right? It's just now we are getting something. This is what Pong spoke to previously as well, where it is kind of phone-like in a way where it is an iteration. Like it's not, you're not getting the leaps anymore. Unless something drastically changes, I don't see another leap happening. Now, could it happen after this next generation? But if Xbox is releasing their next console in 2027, what am I supposed to predict for 2037? I don't even know where I'm gonna be at. Oh, that's almost 2040. How am I supposed to know where technology is going to be at by 2040? We could have a major breakthrough in the next 6 months.
I'll be 65 almost.
Me and Paul will be talking about AI and the possibility of fucking shit taking over.
AI could have taken over everything already.
That's what I'm saying. We in the next 6 months, we could be in the fucking Matrix, all plugged up and being used as fuel and food for the fucking machines, and we would be none the wiser.
Or we could be living in Night City, realistically, where everybody's just drugged up and
that's
people
not
are
gonna happen
getting
6 months. 10 years, I'll give it 10 years.
No, that's what I'm saying. 15 years. I'm thinking 2040.
Oh, yeah, okay,
Everybody's getting augmented. Everybody's getting drugged up. Nobody's got jobs, and everybody's just hanging out.
And they're talking about that now. That's a real life conversation that's happening where people are like, yo, well, because the whole job crisis thing is happening. It's like, oh, we don't have enough people. We have too many people to supply the jobs that are here. So what are we going to do now? So if that's already becoming a thing, AI is an issue. How do we move things forward? So it's like, I don't know. I don't see consoles being
have a great day
because of how technology is right now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I agree.
Games would be on our glasses. I hope so. I would love to have a pair of glasses. I could just press a button and boom.
Stylish glasses. I'm down for that. I'm down for AR. I'm definitely down for. I'm not the biggest VR guy, but I'm down for AR.
Yeah, I'm 100% down with AR. If you can just give me capability for what I have right now, and I can sit back and just
or contact lenses that give me screens.
Lenses might be extra. Let's just step at a time. I don't know. They're getting better with those fucking flexible TVs and phones.
That's what I'm saying. And they've had contact lenses that can do telescopic vision and that kind of stuff already. So
they do.
Let's go. Let's get those.
That is true. I mean, it's gonna be interesting, man. I don't know. I don't know what direction is gonna happen, bro. But I don't think video games are gonna die.
Yeah, which could be a bunch of chooms plugged in 24/7 to a virtual reality world that doesn't suck. As our AI overlords run the world.
Oh God.
Yeah, Ozzy's like, I'll be 70. Yeah, bro, it's weird to start thinking about like that, like 2 generations of console away. We'll have Fallout 5 by then.
Maybe we'll get Elder Scrolls 6 by then. Nixie says there will always be a console in one form or another. They will be digital only consoles from a third party maker. In my honest opinion, that to me is the future of consoles. For me, as long as whatever's in that box means something, there will always be use for a console. What I mean by that, I'm not trying to buy just a streaming only box. I'm not. I need to be able to because I can already see a future. You're already forced to buy, even when you buy a disc to download the game. I can see a future to where, oh, you can only play this game on through the cloud. That would make me frustrated. No, I need the native experience. As long as I can play the game native, that's all that I'm going to care. That's going to be my old head thing that I take. It needs to be native. If it's not the original picture, I don't want to play it. I don't do all that cloud stuff y'all cute little whippersnappers do. All that cloud gaming. I need my input latency. It needs to be as minimal. But Grandpa, the input latency is almost noticeable even for you. I don't care. I need it to be minimal. That's gonna be me. He says, still they will be soulless, nothing like we see today. At least what I think. Samsung Xbox console. I mean, I can see that. As long as it's still Xbox. Chris says, are we getting closer to $1,000 base price of the console? It is still $450, $500 and cheaper with sales. The Pro was an outlier at $700, and even that I can't imagine to sell now. Like now it's $650. The one thing that I will say for consoles as well, kind of leaning into something that she mentioned in that article, consoles are meant to be an entry point for the casual gamer to access gaming content. I will forever stand behind the price of the console being as cheap as the console can be. But I will be reasonable and say this. If we know in reality that Xbox was already taking a loss on a $500 console when the console released with the Xbox Series X and S, they were already taking a loss selling it at $500. Sure, it's a loss that they can work with. They got other ways, right? Offset. It's all about software sales. If, and this is my version of it. If the next Xbox, if the next console does not sell substantially more than the Series generation has, I do think that the next console generation is going to start off at $600 at least. At least. Because if you want price, you want power, you're going to pay for it. Now, unless something substantial happens within the next year, there's not much else that can change. But as of right now, that console vision is still there, for sure. I need a console that will serve two purposes: play games while soaking my teeth to be clean. I'm out. But yeah, no. Well, my point. So I lost track. $600 is probably going to end up being the minimum, the reasonable cost for moving into the future. The handheld device is going to be $1,000. Whatever that ROG Ally device is, I mean, I heard people talking about it this week, thinking that it's going to be $700, $500, thinking it's going to be a reasonable price. That hardware is not being offset by software by ROG. It is ROG's device. They are making it. And unless there's some other behind the scenes deal that is happening, that device is going to be $1,000. If any of the rumors hold up to be true, if that motherfucking handheld has 64 gigs of RAM because they want to prep for the future and because of how video RAM works on those types of devices, ABC, I don't know all the exact comprehension to explain it to y'all. But if that is the case, please do not think that shit is going to cost $500 or that it's going to be the most accessible device that you've ever seen. So that's kind of my thought on the price. What do you think, Paul? You think it's going to be more aggressive than the 600 bones?
Yeah, I think for
the next console?
I think we're going to be at the $800 mark. So
starting off, baseline, PlayStation 6, The next Xbox, 800.
Yeah, because again, because they have to future proof. Unless they're gonna make it like we talked about before, modular steel. Unless one of them or both of them are gonna come out with a modular type system that can be upgraded easily.
Yeah.
Right. And I said this a couple years ago. You know, if we're going to go down this road where you just basically upgrade the consoles, that's the only way you can really feel. We saw what happened this generation, Steel.
Yeah, I don't know if Xbox wants to do that again because of proprietary hard. Yeah, it's kind of
yeah. So I think realistically, I think we're going to see an $800 box, and I think that's the way it's going to be to start. And I think that's just going to be the cost to do business in this, because I think from Xbox's standpoint, it's going to be an enthusiast box. And because of what they're going to offer inside that box, the hybrid capabilities, and I think they're going to want to make sure that it's going to have AI chips in it. It's going to have a lot of tech in it. I think they're going to say, hey, we're going to give you a lot of options. You can play Xbox in a lot of different ways. But if you want to come here to play the console, this is this hybrid system that we've got, you're going to pay. And I think they're not going to take the losses that they used to take on these consoles. They're just not. And so I think $800 box is coming. So, I mean, could they sneak it in at $699? Sure. I think personally the Xbox might be the most expensive. PlayStation 6 might come in because I think it's going to be a more traditional console. I think that could come in at the lower number, between 600 and 700. But I think the Xbox console is going to go for the enthusiast section and really try to separate itself from everybody else. But we'll see. I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, that's just, I mean, as a consumer, I wouldn't like to see that, right? I mean, I do stand behind, I do stand behind Craig giving me a hardware at that price. That again, what makes this so difficult is I don't know what I'm supposed to expect in a decade, right? Because that goes back to the conversation we were having earlier as well. Like previously, I knew that I was going to get 8 years out of a generation. So what am I expecting to get 8 years out of the next Xbox? Because I didn't get I don't know if we're not even getting a full 8 out of this. And they haven't even dropped. They are just now 5 years in dropping support for the previous generation for Xbox One and PlayStation 4.
Right.
So you mean if the next one comes out in 2027, you telling me by 2032, we're still going to be getting Xbox Series and PlayStation 5 support? 2035? Maybe even longer, because these consoles are more prepped. The Xbox One and PlayStation 4 were behind the technology when they came out. This console generation, that wasn't the case. They were kind of on the pulse of things. So do we all of a sudden unlock even more capabilities? The tools start coming out more to play? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Neither do I. It's crazy, but again, if Xbox is offering one version, you buy one version, you can play it anywhere, which is what seemingly they're going for, Steel too. That's going to also be a part of that.
If they can do that,
that's going to be a huge benefit. That's going to be a huge benefit to people.
That's going to be a way, even at $700, is going to be a way to entice people in for sure. Because I mean, at that point, that's the incentive.
Right. One version everywhere you go.
Again, and that would speak for, that's the hardware difference. Nobody's if no other hardware is offering you that.
Right.
Even if they branched out manufacturing, Samsung, Xbox, whatever Xbox, if you had to have an Xbox to have that feature, I mean, again, that speaks to what I've been asking for, what I'm asking for. And that's a way to, again, to your point, that's the way that they can play the exclusivity game, just doing it in a different way. And I think that's majority of to wrap that up and start winding things down. Unless there's some additional things that you wanted to get into. I think that's kind of where you find that fine line. That Trojan horse theory leads to you playing exclusivity in a different way, or just playing the game differently, right?
You have to have Windows fixed though. So
I don't know what that's going to take. I haven't played with it on any handheld, so I don't know. I know it's bloated. I know they've been working on Windows Lite for quite some time. completely dismissing their handheld, their own specific handheld, and putting focus back on Windows. I know I heard a little bit of Everborn talk about it last night, because he came from, I think him and Kay might come from like the perspective of Kay Sante. Shout out to the Gaming Circle Podcast brothers. They come from the more perspective was, why is Microsoft all of a sudden acting like what Steam is doing has an adverse effect, or hasn't this been something that they've been working on this entire time? This kind of comes across as shady on Microsoft's part, because it's like, well, you're supposed to be this big tech conglomerate and you're reacting to people like you just got new information, or, you know what I mean? Like things aren't quite right or where they need to be, or don't necessarily bestow confidence in people that are kind of in the know or whatever. So I don't know. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is all that I had for the majority on my list. That is 8 topics that were taken care of right there. Outside of the Black Myth one, because I didn't see, there wasn't much else to get into about that, outside of just mentioning that, hey, there are modern games that are becoming playable on our phones. And we mentioned a little bit about phone technology and what can be expected to be on there. The only other thing we didn't dive, we touched on it, was the whole Randy Pitchford and him coming out saying that, hey, if you're a real fan, go get Borderlands, Tiny Tina's, and you can get it for free right now through the Epic Game Store. If you're a real fan and your pockets are strapped. So the exact quote is for our real fans who may be cost sensitive. The very awesome and incredibly fun smash hit video game Tiny Tina's Wonderland is free this week on the Epic's Game Store. Please enjoy this free in all capital letters gift by grabbing your free in all capital letters copy here. Free. And then he posts the link. Bro, I can't anymore, man. Disconnect.
I can't anymore. I can't.
People are disconnected, man. They don't be caring. Spend them money. But watch when I don't buy your game. Yeah, it's gonna be a real trick or treat situation for you.
Whatever. Nixie appreciates him. Nixie will buy a couple extra copies for us. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, perfect. I appreciate that, Nixie. That's on the house.
Nixie,
hey,
Nixie likes the truth. Nixie likes the upfront truth. The honesty.
$160 for Pong and Steel to do a full co-op playthrough of Borderlands 4. Dedicated, motivated. Let's go.
It hurts. God.
Nixie says Pong won't settle until Pitchford stops using all the executive's inner voice.
Exactly. It's all right, Nixie. It's all right, Nixie. Go buy some extra copies. Sell it fake sincerity or we riot. Yep. It's correct. That's right, Nixie. That's right, Nixie.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, was there anything else that chat had on their on your hearts? Is there anything else that you would like to touch on? Do you want to know what I'm going to have for dinner? Do you want to know what I have for breakfast? Do you want to know more? You want me to pull the curtain back and really give it to you? If not, we're going to start winding things down. What a fucking fantastic episode we had this week. For sure, almost 4 hours in, but we're gonna get off here for the afternoon so we can get some things knocked out, get things situated, rolling here.
We have a lot to talk about next week. Next week's gonna be massive.
Yeah. We're gonna have a massive. Yeah, this week was definitely a little slower, but we still make we know us. We're gonna make a
games next week. Woo! We're gonna have a lot to talk about. Also, anybody who's curious, the Kingdom of Heaven 4K transfer is absolutely gorgeous, by the way. So that just came out and I picked it up for my birthday. So just so you movie buffs out there, and I know there's a lot of Kingdom of Heaven fans out there, the transfer is absolutely drop dead gorgeous with HDR. So they did a fantastic job with it. So just to let y'all know on the side.
Okay, bet.
Awesome.
I seen was getting into that.
Oh yes, sir. Pre-ordered. Not very often I pre-order movies, man, especially at that price point, but I had to for one of the goats. So
That's fair. That's fair.
yeah.
All right. Well, let's wind it on down, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say thank y'all for coming out and checking out episode 188 of Living Split Screen. Next week is probably, I believe, right after about E3 time is when we end the episode, end the season. So that will be the wrap of season 4, moving into season 5, which will technically mark 5 years of us doing this podcast. Well, 4 years going into year 5 of us doing a Living Split Screen. And again, if you like what we do here, you like the conversation, you like the angles where we come from, maybe you don't, maybe you do, hit that like button, even hit the dislike button if you care to. It only helps the algorithm, lets YouTube know that it can be put out in front of more people because people are engaging with it, and helps us grow, man. We do definitely want to push those numbers up there, but again, it just comes down to us, us doing the work, man. I can't ask for anybody to clip our stuff up and do anything extra or do anything for free. Because right now, unless you completely believed in the vision, you'd be working for free. I'm just letting you know, for peanuts. I'd buy you a Big Mac meal every month. I got you. But yeah, until we get that situated and I figure out what's going on with this little stream deck back here, maybe that'll help. No beans, no beans. But you give us a good energy supplement, we might rock. I might get on board with that. I might be on board with that. Just let me know. I know we put C4 out there, but maybe do a little Ghost. I don't mind Ghost. Ghost be rocking. Ghost be rocking. But nah, we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you can find me, Steel Rain. That T is a 7 everywhere. Google's the easiest place to type that information in to find all of my details. And you will find me on the streets of X, otherwise known as Twitter, or the Xbox ecosystem, just because it works so well in tandem between the PC and the console itself. Other than that, next weekend, who knows what's going to happen? If Arc Raiders comes out on Friday, ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to have a show. We're going to be doing we're going to be doing a gameplay. That's what we're going to be doing. Because, we believe in getting games in first. And we don't get to get our co-op action in or get games in together as often as we used to. So those, if we can take advantage, why not take advantage? So we'll see. Next week is going to be super interesting. Super hype week upcoming for games. It will be my work week, so that's going to be interesting as well, taking all that news in, a lot to get into, seeing what other people are going to start hinting at and talking about, because that's usually about this time as well, where people start putting their educated guesses on the line, and then we find out again who's real and who's fake. Anyway, but Pong, another fantastic episode with you as well, brother man. Let these beautiful people know where they can find you and what you're getting into.
Freaking amazing show, brother. Good discussion again. Going away that I was not expecting it to off of a topic, but and then just a really good conversation all around, and great conversations with the chat, which I absolutely love as well. Yeah, man, what a great Saturday. What a great way to end my birthday week here. Even though to me it's just another day. Attention, ladies and gentlemen, before we end the show, the one and only Decado said, listen, y'all, we're not going to end the show at a Mach 3.0. That's right, we were at a Mach 3.0 due to the Ray Oy jumping in earlier with that 20 bomb. But Decado said, we can't have that happen. We're going to get up to a nice Mach 5.0 before we end the show on a Saturday. Dropping off a couple bags of coal. We got on the court with that easy 10 dunk, giving us 2 new carloads of people. Welcome aboard, all you new splitters, right at the end of the show. Welcome aboard. Buckle up for the end of the show. It's going to be a quick journey for you, but we'll be back next week. But the Decado with the 10 bomb. Thank you, Decado. Choo-choo, motherfuckers. Choo-choo. Keeping us ad-free in 2025. Thanks, Decado. Appreciate you much. It was an awesome show. Listen, y'all, if you're looking for some multiplayer, I'll just throw this out there. Battlefront 2 is still hopping. So this ain't going away, folks. Battlefront 2 is still hopping. If you're looking for Star Wars action, I also did graze a little bit of that this week again too. It's playing well, but there's a lot to play out there. So you guys know how to find me, Pong Soul everywhere. Nothing but love and respect to each and every single one of you. Follow me, I'll follow you back. Right now, this is the one show, although there is rumors that you will be seeing the Fun Spec family fire up starting next week, of course, in time for showcase season. So keep your eyes and ears open. Mav's going to lock in some details. Obviously, he's still got a bunch of real life stuff going on, so details will come out as he kind of gets them settled. But you should see the Fun Spec fam around next week. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. Otherwise, next Saturday, like Steele said, if Arc Raiders are out, maybe you'll be getting a stream. If it's not out, you're going to be getting a lot of game talk from Summer Games Fest, and then speculation headed into Xbox. Of course, showcase on Sunday. So Saturday is going to be a blast no matter what. So join us back here for Living Split Screen. Otherwise, everybody, it is the golden age of gaming. Please play what you love. Love what you play. Get out there and enjoy something this weekend. And I'll talk to you all real soon. Steele, get us out of here, brother.
Beautiful people, y'all be safe out there. Enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll see you next time. Much love.
Just one question. What if you miss?
I won't.